Good morning. It is Monday morning motivation time. Once again, I appreciate you guys being here. We have a doozy of a subject matter today. And while we are waiting for everyone to tune in, I'm just going to tell you guys just a little bit briefly what this live is going to be about and why I'm so intentional about our subject matter today.
Cool.
And then we'll say hello to some people and kind of see who all is here. And then I'm going to tell you guys a little bit of a story. And hopefully this is helpful for you and maybe someone you know, or maybe will benefit us either in our future interactions with people as we talk about the proper human diet, or maybe you're the person out there who needs help and needs the inspiration, and maybe this will be encouraging to you. So that's kind of what we're here to do. So we will say hello to some folks here in just a minute, but I wanted to talk to you guys very briefly about why this matters so much to me today. And I'll let Ash sort of jump in as we get into the story of this later and go deeper into this. But I had an interaction on YouTube couple of days ago, and it really got under my skin really badly. And not because of me feeling offended or angry or of anything about my ego, but it really got under my skin because of what this interaction would indicate that someone is doing to other people in their lives. And I realized that the things that I was experiencing from what this person was talking about to me is very much the same thing that I'm seeing other people that are the very loud minority that we talk about, very dogmatic, very judgmental element of people in the keto and carnivore space that you see online. It is very much the same thing. And it's a real problem because I see the effect of people that it is harming. Ash and I interact with the people that it is harming. We have people who talk to us, thanking us for the fact that we are not that way, because there are people who are desperately seeking help and finding themselves being ridiculed and judged and beaten up everywhere they go. And they're just looking for help. And I wanted to talk about this, and I want to tell you guys sort of how this interaction went, and I want to tell you a little bit about what I saw, and hopefully you can learn to recognize those same kinds of things. I get a lot of practice at this because I deal with people like this on an almost daily basis, having a YouTube channel like this. It's, you put yourself on the internet and you get a lot of this that comes your way. But I want to help you guys see this from my perspective, so that you can learn to recognize when people are doing this. So one, we can always do the work to improve the way we approach people, because none of us are perfect, Ash and I included. And so we always have to be on the lookout for how we are approaching people and what we are doing to try to help people. That's really important. Also, when we see other people doing this, we need to be able to not necessarily go confront those people, but the people they're doing it to, we need to be able to step in and try to offer some encouragement and some support, because there are people that need help and support and to be defended and to be stood up for, because they're not able to do it for themselves right now, especially if they are struggling with the difficult mental aspects of being on a standard American diet and being inflamed and having all these things going on. It is very hard to stand up against those kinds of things and have the clarity of mind to do it. And quite literally, you doing something like encouraging someone like that and telling them that they are not worthless, regardless of how maybe someone online is treating them, may be the difference between saving their life and not. And we see this happening. So we're going to talk about it today. It's a little bit of a heavy topic, but I think it's a really important one. And I'm going to give you more information about the very wild interaction that I had.
Yeah.
And we'll go into that deeper. So
I also think it's fair to note today's subject may be a heavier topic, but that means that it's an important topic.
Yes.
And sometimes people shy away from the heavy topics because they're hard to talk about.
Yeah.
And that doesn't help anybody.
Right.
So just Remember, so it's being motivated, but in a different way.
Yeah.
So it's a good topic.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yep.
Cool.
We won't back down from a fight when there's people's lives at stake.
Absolutely.
That's basically what we're saying here. So,
yeah.
Well, let's see who's here. Let's see who's in the comments and say hello to some people, and we will jump into our subject matter at hand.
Awesome.
Appreciate you guys being here. If you can do us a favor, hit the thumbs up, tell YouTube or Facebook or wherever it is you're watching this that this is a valuable video. And right next to the thumbs up, there is a share button. You can send this to people who might need some encouragement and who need to feel like they have a place to go and a community to support them as they are trying to take back their health with keto, with carnivore, even if they're not keto and carnivore. I don't care if they're vegan. If they're just looking for support, like, I'm not here to beat them up for doing something that is different than what I do.
Yeah.
That's kind of what we're talking about here. So, whoever it is that you think needs the encouragement, send them this video and let them know that they are welcome here. So, let's see who we got in the comments section. Did you have something to add to that before I?
No, I don't think so. I'm just drinking my coffee. I will say, so literally 5 minutes before we went live, kind of a good news showing that my diet and changes are working. So I took Mel out for a walk and I ended up feeling so good. Mel and I just ran half a mile this morning.
Yes.
Right before the live. So if I seem a little out of breath or red, but that's amazing. I used to be able to run like 3 miles and at one point wanted to do like marathons and all that. So it just shows that I'm feeling good and whatnot. But if I'm a little sweaty, a little glossy, it's exciting though. It's good. It feels good.
You're as beautiful as always, my
love.
You're
sweet. I'm just sticking to my New Year's resolution to be more active.
Yes.
So.
Rick is here. Charger Mopar. Hello, my friend. He is responding to the title of this video, which is never do this if you want to help someone on their health journey. He says, don't give them duck food. Yes, absolutely. If you guys don't know, Rick, Charger Mopar, has a YouTube channel and he does a lot of stuff with like engines and all this kind of stuff. Like, he's a very mechanical guy, totally a world that I know little to nothing about, even though my grandfather was a automatic transmission mechanic for most of his life as a living, on top of other things. I did not pick that up. So I know very little about engines and mechanical things, but Rick is an expert in these things. And he's also very, very stable on a very strict carnivore diet and does a lot of really cool stuff. And he lives off of a lot of like things that he can get locally to where he is in Florida. Like, he eats iguana. That's
super cool.
Like, super cool. He's found a way that carnivore works for him and it's cool. And he shares a lot of that info on his YouTube channel. So if you guys are into that kind of thing, go find Rick, Charger Mopar, and subscribe to his channel. I'm sure he would appreciate some views and just some people taking a look at what he does. But Rick, we're glad you're here. And Rick has a thing that he says in live streams a lot of times about carbs. He calls it duck food because you feed carbs to the ducks, right?
That is true.
And so when he says don't give them duck food, that's really funny. And he's like, if you want to help someone in their journey, don't feed them a bunch of carbs. So I totally agree.
That's awesome. Rick, we're glad you're here.
Yeah, good to see you, Rick. Glad you're here joining us. Janelle is here, one of our rock star moderators. Good morning, everyone. Let's all motivate one another. Yes, because we are better together doing all of this.
Yes.
She also says it helps to be able to read people. Some people aren't ready to hear helpful advice and others will never want to hear. And you're absolutely right.
True.
And it is very important that we understand where someone is and how to speak to them, because it doesn't matter what you say. If you don't say it to a person who's listening and in a way that they are capable of understanding and hearing, you're just wasting your breath. And it honestly can drive people further into their problems, which is what we're going to talk about today, because that was part of what this interaction was all about. So awesome. Janelle's reading my mind today.
Janelle's awesome.
My mom is here. She was having an issue with her thumb brace, and she accidentally sent a couple of messages that were just the word no. So I just deleted those because I didn't want anyone to misunderstand.
That's funny.
So hello, Mom. Hope you're doing well. Hope your thumb is hopefully healing up more all the time. But Janelle says, "Oh no, thumb brace. I hope heal quickly. Have no excuse for my typos." And Auntie, another one of our rock star moderators, is here. Good morning, everyone.
Hi,
hello, Shauna. I hope you're doing well this morning. Lynn is here, of course. Good morning, everyone. It's Monday morning motivation time. And let's see. Everybody's saying hello to everyone.
Awesome.
Our community is so great. They're always
They're
amazing. Always so so nice and so kind to each other, which makes all of the difference.
It really does.
Addicted to Antlers is here. Good
Hello.
morning, all. And there's Aunt Kay. Good morning, friends.
Hi, Kay.
And there's Brenda Foley. Hi from Louisville.
Brenda.
Hi, Brenda. Lainey is here, says Tuesday morning here in Australia.
Oh, awesome.
Very, very cool. And Lynn is saying hello to Kay. We've got Richard Williams. Good morning, neighbors from Copper Hill, Tennessee.
Hi, Richard.
There's Tanya, one of our many private community members.
Yeah.
Says, good morning, Chris, Ash, Mel, and everyone. Good morning, Tanya.
Good morning.
Hope you are having a great day, and hopefully some of those things we're all talking about in the private group, hopefully that is helping. If you guys did not know, we do have a private community where we all give each other extra support, share tips. I do some extra recipes. I do behind the scenes, little recipe tips as I'm just kind of cooking in the kitchen on a random day, like all kinds of things. And that is linked down below. So if you guys feel like you could use some extra support, feel free to come check us out in the community if you would like.
Yeah.
Addicted to Antlers says, remember to hit that thumbs up button, everyone.
Awesome. Thank you.
So if anyone was wondering, my mom, why she's wearing a thumb brace, tweaked her thumb at work, x-ray show a bone or calcium fragment in the joint, waiting to see an orthopedist, nothing major. Thanks for all the concerns. So yeah, she's just been having some pain in that joint, but I think she's doing all right. So just kind of waiting to see if they have to do anything more or if it's just a let it heal kind of thing. And Robert Hanna is here. Good morning from Reynoldsville,
Robert.
Pennsylvania. We have Debbie Olivetree. Good morning from Philadelphia.
Hello.
And that would be my dad right there. He must be hanging out at home watching us on the YouTubes. Yeah. And let's see. Janelle has a great point. Just a reminder, you can catch motivational live streams on the CCN Studio channel, and there is the link for it. If you guys did not know, we have a Studios channel. If you're watching this on the main Chris Cooking Nashville channel, I have a Studios channel, and eventually all of our live stream, interview, health-related, motivational type stuff will end up there so that Chris Cooking Nashville main channel can just be about the food. But we're doing it in both places right now because a lot of people don't know that channel exists. So make sure to go over there and subscribe if you're into this kind of stuff so that when we eventually move all this over there, you will be notified and you won't miss it if you like this kind of stuff. Rick makes a great point. YouTube is full of zealots. It really is.
Very true.
And it's just, it's a thing that we have to know how to handle. So he also says, I challenge anyone to be more carnivore than me, yet I freely give fruits and veggies to friends. And that's the thing. Like Rick, you make it work the way that it works for you, and you don't judge others for it, and you still give them great things. And we're all in this together.
Absolutely.
We're all in this together. Angela G is here. I just watched a short about dementia caused by the way we eat. Dementia is now being called diabetes type 3. That's correct. Thank you for helping people. I'm sorry for the nasty snarkiness. It's a shame. Well, it's okay, Angela. Ash and I were talking about this. I kind of asked for it because when I said I was going to do what I do and I was going to put myself out there on YouTube, I knew that I was stepping into a hornet's nest of this, and I don't back down from these people. I could just delete the comments. I could just, block them. I could do whatever, but I don't do that because I see it as a teaching moment. And even if it's not teaching for the person who is so set in their ways that they refuse to hear what I'm going to say, at least for other people who see the interaction happening in the comment section, it's a teaching moment, and it does encourage people and give them the understanding that they're not alone. Because when I used to struggle with brain fog and depression and anxiety and all this stuff, and I was looking for answers, I would go to YouTube comment sections. When I saw people do this and then the creator never respond, I questioned if that creator really believed what they were saying.
Yeah.
Because I didn't understand. I didn't have clarity enough of mind to know what I was really doing. And so I was struggling. And so that's why I'm so intentional about standing against that kind of stuff in the comment section publicly, because sometimes you got to take a few arrows to the back to protect the people that you're trying to take care of and you're trying to help. So it's part of what I signed up for.
It's part of the job.
But yes, you are very correct though. Dementia being called type 3 diabetes is a very real thing. And they're starting to find all of these connections between sugar and it getting into the brain and all of these different types of dementia. So it's a major thing. We really need to be out there and trying to spread the word about this. Eyes 2C is here. Hi guys. Hello. I believe that's Tori.
Awesome. Hey,
good to see you. Angela says no one is worthless. That is correct.
Very, very true.
And my dad is on both channels.
Nice.
Nana1776 is here, says, morning, I'm back on track now, and I need the encouragement. And
awesome.
We are here to encourage you. Congratulations for being back on track. Let us know how we can support you and how we can help you be stable and stay on track, because that's why we're here.
Yeah.
Sherry Nevada Pup is here. Good morning. I haven't put her in timeout yet, so.
Not yet. Hi, Sherry.
Oh, funny. Lewis Stone is here. Good morning. No power and lots of wind damage. Lewis, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope you guys get power back soon, and hopefully the damage can be repaired easily, but we will be praying for that. We're very glad you're here, my friend.
Yep.
Low. I don't know if that's how you would pronounce it or not, but hey, we're trying. Good morning. Thanks for talking about hard topics. Well, thank you for watching. It is truly an honor and a pleasure to get to talk about these things and feel like we can put something in the world to help people.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're glad to do that. Brenda says, huzzah, Ash.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, very, very proud of my lovely wife.
Trying to be intentional here, guys. Got to stick to the goals we set.
Absolutely. Debbie Olive Tree says, woohoo, Ash.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. Angie Z is here. Good morning. Thank you, Chris and Ash, for always being encouraging and supportive. Great job on your run, Ash.
Thanks.
Well, Angie, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you so much. Marie is here. Looking forward to this subject. Well, thank you, Marie. I think it's going to be a good one. Tori gave us a tip, says a tip for the band. Well, thank you so much. You guys,
Tori.
You guys have no idea how much little things like this matter to us, how it just keeps us going and gives us the resources to be able to put more back into this for you guys. We appreciate it so much. I can't possibly put into words what it means when people choose to do things like that. So
absolutely. Thank you, Tori. Super sweet.
Rick says, yes, duck and iguana. Yes, he has all the fresh game meats right there.
I've never tried iguana, but I'd give it a shot.
Yeah, absolutely. And he says, thanks for the shout out. You're very welcome, Rick, anytime. RJ is here. Hello from South Carolina. It's good to see you, RJ. We're very glad you're here. B. Erickson is here. I can't express how much this diet has helped me. Everything from improving my sight, relieving arthritic pain, improving my memory, to losing weight. For me, it was about saving my life. Amen. And that is why it is so important that we figure out how we can kindly and compassionately help people with this information, because it's not about proving something. It's not about bullying people into doing something the way we do it. It's about, are we helping people and can we truly save someone's life?
Absolutely.
Because this has life-saving power. It really, really does.
Yeah.
It really does. Renee is here. Hello from Florida, Canadian snowbirds. Well,
awesome.
Hopefully you are glad that you are out of the snow and ice right now.
Yeah. We have just a tiny little bit of snow left on the ground from our storm the other day. Just a little bit left here in Nashville, but we're glad that it's melting too. So
that's right.
Feel you. Yeah.
That's right. Rick says he is glad to be here. Well, Rick, we're very glad you're here. We appreciate you. I think this is the first Monday morning motivation that Rick has been able to tune into.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, I know Rick from like Dustin over at Keto Simple. He's on his live streams, and I've seen him in some other people's live streams, but I think this is the first time he's been able to attend live with us on Monday. So very glad you're here, my friend.
Yeah, man, welcome.
Bia says sight as in eyes. Yes. Yes, absolutely. Chris, I love your hair and beard today. Well, thank you.
I told him, I said, babe, you look so handsome today.
Listen, today's my monthly bath day, okay? That's what it comes down to.
The one day a month we get to take a bath. Do you brush your teeth too? Is that like a...
No, I'm drinking my coffee right now, so I'll brush my teeth after I finish my coffee.
There you go.
So, because toothpaste and then coffee and butter don't
that's not a good combo.
Well. Yeah,
not a good combo.
Yeah. Let's see. Rick says, I'm listening while I work. Typical for me.
Nice.
Love it. Lynn says, can't believe I'm saying this, but I shoveled snow twice this past week and I actually loved it.
What?
It wasn't a lot, but actually gave me energy to be using those muscles. That's amazing.
Well, good for you, Lynn. And shoveling snow is a lot of work. It is super physical.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing about this is, when you do a diet like keto or carnivore and you get your health in check and all these things start to improve, you have energy. You feel like you're young again, even if you're not.
Right.
and all that energy comes back and it's like, oh, maybe this is actually how our bodies were designed to work. Like, what a concept.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Good for you, Lynn.
Cynthia's here. Hi from frozen Michigan. Cynthia, I bet it's cold up there. What part of Michigan are you from, Cynthia? I have family from Michigan, so curious what part you're from.
Yeah.
Lynette is here. Hello, my beautiful friend Lynette. Hey guys, good morning. If you guys don't know, is a lovely, wonderful lady. We know her through working with Keto Chow, which she is not doing anymore, but she is still in the space and still working on her keto journey.
Yeah.
And she is just one of the sweetest human beings in the world. So you should definitely be connecting with Lynette because we love her.
Yes, Lynette is amazing.
We're very, very
glad that you're here too, Lynette.
If we make it out to Utah, we have to make sure to hook up and hang out with Lynette.
Definitely a thing.
Melanie is here. Good morning from Southern Idaho.
Good morning.
Hello. You are far out west, aren't you?
Yeah.
Erna Juliana Primo. Finally, I made a live show. Hi, Chris and Ash and Mel. Been watching those awesome videos. Juliana, North Carolina.
Aww.
Well, Juliana, we are very glad that you're here, especially that you were able to jump in live. We're so happy that you were able to make one, and we appreciate you. We know you very well from our videos comment sections, but it's nice to have you here live. Rick says, I'm inspired by your recipes to try them and share with non-carnivore friends who aren't cool with the meat water diet I eat. Yeah, and that's the thing, about my recipes. And this is maybe something that I think a lot of people don't understand. If you're a carnivore and you're eating meat, salt, water, I'm not in any way saying you should then transition over to eating these recipes.
Yep.
Like if you're happy and you're meat, salt, water and your health is great, stick there. You don't need this stuff. But there are so many people in the world who could never imagine eating a carnivore diet in general, let alone one so strict as meat, salt, water. And I like to think of myself as the gateway drug to carnivore for people, right? I do these recipes because people who would never otherwise try something like this are saying, maybe I could do this. And that's the thing. I don't need to make people eat perfectly. I just want to help them eat better. And if I can move them one step along that pathway towards a proper human diet, and I can give them more and more options and they feel less and less deprived to where they're more willing to do it and do it longer, I feel like I've been successful. And then there's plenty of other people out there. Dr. Barry, Dr. Chafee, Dr. Kiltz, Steak and Butter Gal. There's all sorts of people out there who have all this information about being really strict, like meat, salt, water, and the benefits. I don't need to do all of the same thing and tell people, you need to do it this way. There's plenty of other people who know way more than I do about the science of that. I'm a chef.
Yeah.
And I use my recipes to encourage people to move closer in the direction between standard American diet and strict carnivore. There's a whole pathway there. And my goal is to just move people down that path. So what you're talking about here, Rick, it's a perfect way to use these recipes. Make it for non-carnivore friends to show them, maybe if there's health benefits of this that I can show you the research for, maybe you could actually try it.
Yeah.
Maybe you'd like it. Make the recipes. If that gets you doing it, great. And then you'll figure out along the way if you really want to do those recipes going forward or not. It's awesome. That's a great idea. I hope that you can make some of these for some of your friends. And if you do, and if you have any trouble with any of them, just hit me up. Let me know. I'm happy to help. All I need is Rachel's love covers all that yucky. Yes, absolutely. Dark Ruby 9 is here. Malignant narcissists make nasty comments or unsolicited advice that accuse the intended of anger issues for not tolerating their BS. It's a game for them in the comments. You are not wrong, and that's exactly
spot on.
It's exactly what we're going to talk about today, because I have a story for you about a whole cyclical thing that happened, and I'm going to show you guys the parallel of exactly what it was. So, because this is the thing, I have the clarity of mind now to sit back, see it objectively, and know exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And now I can go, and here's why we don't do that.
Yeah.
Andy is here. I'm a lady laugh a lot. Morning, guys. 2X because I just came over from Two Crazy Ketos. Well, I'm so glad you are here. So I'm sure we sound like a chipmunk.
We probably do.
And just to throw Andy off, I should talk really fast so that we can put in a double time and just dig.
Oh man.
She's using headphones. She'll like rip it off and be like, what is he doing?
Yeah. What is happening? Good morning, Andy, though. We're glad you're here.
Very glad you're here.
Yeah.
John Wise is here. Once again, just got here. 1.5 speed till I catch up. John's
nice.
Another one of those we need to talk extra fast for.
Absolutely.
I love this handle. Never too much coffee.
Let me just agree with you right there. 10%.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Good morning from Southern Alabama.
Southern Alabama. Very cool. We are very glad you're here.
Love it.
Chili Harder. How does the studio differ from the private group? Hey, Chili. So the studio's channel is just another YouTube channel. It's I'm just doing videos over there. That's the only thing it is. The private group is a private community where people can come in. They get direct access to Ash and I, as well as many other people in the space. We do extra content in there, like special recipes or cooking tips. I'm going to do some private live streams. We did a private giveaway of some Keto Chow, and we actually are going to be picking the winner for the air fryer from that live stream in the next day or two. It's things like that. We do a bunch of extra stuff, and they get previews of like the experiments I'm doing, the recipes. Like, for example, I just created a brand new recipe yesterday. And I'm not going to tell you guys what it is because that's kind of one of those things I share in the private group. But I shared it in the private group yesterday of like a picture of it. Like, guys, look what I just created. Everybody else will see it when a video comes out in the future. But those are things like, you know, they help support the channel and give us resources that we can use to put back into doing this. And so I try to create some extra things and just do some special events and things for our band members. Yeah. And you can also message each other in the private group because I have YouTube memberships and Patreon, which is great, but there's limited functionality. In the new private group, I'm still putting the same recipes and behind the scenes type stuff in all of those places. But in the new private group, I can have a lot more functionality. There's different spaces. I can go in there live. There's all kinds of extra stuff I can do in the private group that I can't do in YouTube memberships or in Patreon. And so the private group is kind of a step up in terms of the support and the extra contact, and you guys can message each other in there. So like Tania was in there and she was asking a question and a whole bunch of people all offered like resources and thoughts and ideas and, you know, all this kind of stuff. And I think Ash messaged her privately and they were talking about stuff. And like, there's just things like that people in the group can do, and we can support each other and help each other. And that's one of multiple things that have happened in there that I could think of. That
there's so much going on over there. Honestly, it's a great thing.
It really, really is. And we have a wonderful community of people. Yeah. And here's the other deal. If someone comes in there and they're a troll and they're dogmatic and they become a jerk, I can boot them out and ain't nothing they can do about it. So
it's a very safe space.
Yes, it gives us the ability to be safely open and honest about our struggles with each other and just help each other, because we all need help, and community makes it much easier to do this together. So that's what the private group is. And then the studio's channel is just a second YouTube channel. So good question. So Lo is short for my first name, last two initials. Lori here from Arizona. Thanks for all you do.
Awesome. Well, hi, Lori.
Hello, Lori. I'm going to do my very best to remember your name. I'm terrible with names, but I'm going to try. So
we try so hard, like, to try to say everyone's name right and all that, and sometimes we struggle. So thank you for giving us your real name, Lori. We appreciate that.
Yes, we appreciate that. Stephen Stone is here. Good morning from Corpus Christi. Hello, Stephen. Stephen Stone. Lewis is in the private group. There's several other people here who are all in our private community. Great example of members who are just wonderful people that are in there.
Yeah.
So it's good to see you, Stephen. We're very glad you're here. Yes, Janelle has a great explanation. Studio channel is a newer channel. Chris wants to eventually keep his recipes separate from the health motivation. Absolutely. And that way, the people who just want the food can just find me there. People who just want motivation and health information can find us there. And people who want both can subscribe to both. That's the eventual goal, but it takes time to build things like that up. So, Sherry says, you interacting is why I stay around. When I first started watching you, you were 100% carnivore, which is not me, as you all know. Now you're all my family.
Aw, we love you, Sherry.
Yes, absolutely. Well, from the very beginning, I have done everything that I can to try to respond to every single comment on all of my social medias. Now, that means I have, we're at 117, we're pushing towards 118,000 subscribers on the main channel. I have about 1,600 subscribers on the new the Chris Cooking Nashville Studios channel. I have Facebook, I have an Instagram. I don't bother with the TikTok thing anymore. But I have Facebook and I have Instagram. Then we have the private community. I have the Patreon. And I'm trying to respond to every single comment in every single one of those things. It's a lot. It's a full-time job, but I do that because I care about you all and I want to do everything I can to help. And so I don't always get to all of them, but I really try to. And that's why I know when there are trolls and when there are people being difficult, because I see every single one of them. And, Sherry is a good example. Like, I think that interaction means something to people.
Yeah.
And we want you guys to be our big extended online family. And so I'm going to treat you guys that way.
I think that's why we started the Chris Cooking Nashville channel, but also why we started like the private communities and the Patreon, all this stuff, is because community is so important. And we're meant as humans to literally have fellowship. I mean, that is in our design. And so that's why it's so important. Yep.
That's why I'm also a part of Dr. Barry's private group, the Tribe, because that's actually where I was first. Before I had any of this other stuff, I was a part of the Tribe and I leaned on people there. I started my YouTube channel and, I've created my own community now because I needed that to be able to be stable on this. So Auntie says, OMG, I nearly spit coffee through my nose. Monthly bath day.
She thinks you're joking.
That's right. She thinks that was a joke.
Oh, man.
My wife would run me out of the house if I didn't shower.
Yeah. Don't worry. I keep them in line.
That's right.
Best I can.
That's right. Shirley Miller is here. Love and light. Greetings from Grand Cache, Alberta.
Cool.
Stay safe in a radio channeled RD plus 12 hours. Yikes. Stay safe.
Wow.
There's a lot of technical terminology, I think, there that I don't understand. But Shirley, we're very glad you're here. I haven't had enough coffee to keep up, I don't think. So
yeah.
Lynn is here, says, hello, good morning from Edmonton, Alberta. Hello, Lynn.
Glad you're here.
Oh, and Lori gave us a $10 super sticker. Lori, you are the sweetest.
Thank you, Lori.
Oh, my goodness. Thank you so much. You have no idea how much we appreciate that.
Very kind of you.
Very, very kind. Steven says, growing up in Colorado, I can testify that there's absolutely nothing fun about shoveling snow.
There you go.
Auntie says, make sure to have Lynette take you for a Utah burger. Trust me. Interesting. Okay.
Oh, I just got really excited.
Well, now there's just one more reason to make a trip to Utah.
Yeah, so. It sounds amazing.
Easy Peasy Keto is here. Ken and Stacy, hello from COVID-infected Northwest Ohio. Eggs and pork belly are getting us through this. Send us prayers, positive mojo, and energy. I'm so sorry you guys are sick.
I saw your post on Facebook. And,
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, we were praying for you guys. I'm so sorry that you both have COVID, but hopefully you're doing better, and please keep us posted.
Yes.
But yeah, that is no fun whatsoever.
Yeah.
And we were worried about you for sure.
Yeah, we're very glad that you're here and hope that you get better as fast as possible. And we will, of course, pray for your healing.
Absolutely.
Melanie says, yes, I am far out west and it's cold here too. I bet.
Yes.
Lynette says, Shauna, let's do that again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Burgers are delicious, guys.
Barbara is here. Good morning from Indiana. Listening while I work too. Well,
Awesome.
Thank you so much, Barbara.
Good morning.
Rick says, I made covert carnivore foods for my mom when she was sick. I think I extended her life 5 years. It is very possible you did. Absolutely. Well, my mashed potato recipe, my mom made those for my grandpa when he was alive still, there at the end of his life. And he actually liked them better than regular mashed potatoes. But he got so much protein and so much fat from the butter and the dairy and everything that he would not get otherwise, because he just, God bless him, he ate trash most of his life anyway, but especially at the end of his life, he just didn't want anything but just junk food. And he was 94. Like, what are you going to do? You're not going to change him. You're not going to make him eat something.
Right.
So, we just did the best we could and tried to make sure he had things. But my mom would make my carnivore mashed potatoes for him. And his very aging body was getting protein and fat that it would not get any other way.
Cool.
It's great. You know, you can do things even at the end of someone's life like that just to help and make the last part of their life the best it can be.
Absolutely.
It's all we can do for people. Janelle says to Lori, thank you for supporting Chris. Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you, Janelle, for being here.
Yes.
Our Rockstar moderators are so incredible. They really are. Just so many amazing people.
Really, really are. I cannot do this at all without you guys. Auntie says, Lynette, got to get back out to see you again. Absolutely.
Definitely.
Dark Ruby says it's about giving people the tools they need to succeed with positive reinforcement. Yes.
Dark Ruby, you are spot on this morning. I love everything that you're saying. Come on.
Smart.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Rick says, I'm already thinking of adding cottage cheese to elevate my heart attack burger buns. That's a great idea. Fantastic idea, especially because cottage cheese is one of those, like, you know, as a carnivore, I don't eat it regularly. I mean, it's in some of my recipes, and so people might think I'm eating it daily. I'm not. But when I do recipes, it's a really good gateway food to make things that get people to go, you know, I might be able to do this whole carnivore thing. That tastes pretty good. You can do some cool stuff with cottage cheese. And if you get a clean one, it's dairy, it's salt, and it's enzymes. Yeah. And that's it. So you just got to read the label. But, you know, if you get a good clean one, like Daisy is a really good clean one. That's what I buy, and it's fantastic. Melanie says, I made fun of this way of eating until I tried it, and my blood work came back great. And my hubby and I started feeling so much better. It was surely a foot in the mouth moment. And that's the thing. Like, we have to realize people that are on the outside of this, they think it's crazy. I thought it was crazy.
When you came,
you thought it was crazy.
Oh, I totally thought it was crazy. Oh, hey, you got another thumbs up.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, when Chris came to me. Oh, will it do it?
Let's see. Let's see.
I think do you have to do the thumbs?
No, there it goes.
There it goes. Woohoo! Light show.
Yeah, we're having fun this morning.
We're having a blast. Yeah, when Chris came to me and we were doing keto, but he told me he was going to try carnivore, and I was like, "Is that like a cult? Like, can you just eat meat? Like, how does that work?" I mean, I thought it was crazy until you see the results of it, though. And that's the thing you just can't argue with. Yeah. So good for you.
Absolutely. Janelle says, I want to hear the story you have to tell, Chris. I'll tell you what, let's take a break from saying hi to people in the comments. Let me go ahead and tell you the story, and then this will probably spawn, I think, a lot more discussion. So really quickly, before we drop in there, I just want to say massive thank you to Lynette for this. Keep being amazing. She says, Lynette, you keep being amazing because you make such a difference just by being in our lives. Like, truly, I'm not just buttering your biscuit. I'm serious. Like, meeting you at KPL and just the time that we get to interact with you and all that. Like, you're just a beautiful human being.
You've been so good to us, Lynette. Your family.
And we also want to say thank you to Shauna. She says, family happens here. Appreciate you both so much for all the support. We appreciate you because we honestly would be totally lost without you helping us the way that you do. Yeah. We really, really, really would.
We love you, Auntie.
Yes, we definitely do. Okay. So, story time. So I had a person comment on the tortilla chip video that just came out on Saturday. And I think it was on that video. It was either Friday or Saturday. It was that one or maybe the taco shells, one of the two. And the comment was, does the carnivore diet even work? Doesn't look like it's working for you. So I love being called fat. It happens on a weekly basis, which is amazing that you can lose as much weight as we have lost. And then having never been called fat to my face in my life, I put my success online, and then suddenly I get called fat. It's a really wild thing that happens as a YouTuber, and it's fine, whatever. It doesn't take away the fact that I've lost all the weight that I have, and I still have more to lose. I'm not in denial about, like, I don't have a six-pack. I'm not walking around all skinny at an ideal body weight. Like, I've got weight to lose.
But for people that are maybe new here to the channel, how much weight have you lost
somewhere around 130 pounds? Yeah, somewhere in that range. Like, I mean, it fluctuates a little bit. I haven't weighed in a long time, but just because I feel really great, and it's like, you know, my clothes are fitting and like everything is good. So this year I'm going to be a little more strict with things. I'm going to try to lose more. So I have this comment pop up, and I realized that it's like, okay, this person very clearly has not done any research on who I am, what I do. They're just making a statement, just making a judgment and commenting out of ignorance. And so I responded and I said, I essentially told them, you're judgmental, you're ignorant, you know nothing about my story. I'm sorry if my 130-pound weight loss isn't enough to suit you. But you basically need to grow up and you need to get out of the YouTube comment sections telling people what you think they should be doing. So I respond. And so then I get this message back, this comment in return. And this guy's name's Jim. And I actually invited him to tune in to this Monday Morning Live because I told him, you'll be the subject of this conversation because this is where things really took a turn. And so he responded to me. And after we had this first interaction, which was already unpleasant, he told me that, well, I actually watch you and I like what you do a lot. Believe it or not, I actually really like you. But I'm just too direct in my comments sometimes. And he said, in my response to him, I had said, feel free to put, because he didn't have like a picture of himself, like a current picture of himself as his YouTube thumbnail, picture. And I said, feel free to put a picture of yourself up and show us all the Greek god physique you must have. And we'll see if we can nitpick what we think is wrong with you. And obviously I'm not going to do that to somebody, but that's the approach that someone like this is taking when they're nitpicking what they think is wrong with you after clearly not knowing anything about your story. So he told me that he liked what I do and he liked me even if I didn't believe it, but he didn't know about any of my weight loss and all these things. And it's like, well, yes, obviously you don't know anything about my weight loss because you're making very ignorant, stupid comments. And he then told me that he doesn't have a Greek god physique. He's an old man who is overweight and has struggled with health issues his whole life. And he also then told me, I have several grandsons who are probably older than you, and they struggle with their weight and their health. And I am constantly harassing them about their health because they need to get it in check. And this is where things really got under my skin and really started to bother me. And so he tried making excuses for the way that he was behaving, and then told me, I'm not just doing this in the comment section to you, someone that I don't know. I am repeatedly harassing my own family with this kind of behavior while sitting in my chair being an overweight, hypocritical, pathetic excuse of a person who's treating the people that I claim to care about this way. And I'm paraphrasing our conversation. So I would invite you, it was very long. I would invite you to go look at his comments, except cowards like to delete their comments after you back them into a corner, especially when other members of the community then saw our interaction and started stepping in and putting him in his place, telling him, no, you're wrong. So I responded to him and I said, I feel so bad for your family having to put up with your behavior this way, because if you are choosing to, in your own words, harass your grandsons over their weight and their health while you are the one sitting in the chair overweight, struggling with your own health, you're hypocritical, you're emotionally abusive, and you're making excuses for this. And I said, I'm sorry, but that is a pathetic excuse of your behavior as a man. And I told him flat out, you don't deserve the title of being a man because no man treats his family that way. And I said, I am so sorry for your grandsons who are apparently struggling with their health and their weight, that you are what they have to deal with for a grandfather. And I know what it's like to have an amazing grandparent. My grandfather on my mom's side, he just passed away this past fall. An incredible man who, as a grandfather, treated me just as much like a son as my dad does. Like, I basically just had two dads growing up because I was living in the house with my dad and my mom, and then also my grandma and grandpa on my mom's side. And my grandpa is as much of an influence on who I am as a man as my dad is, you know? And I mean, that's two wonderful examples that I grew up with on a daily basis, being there, teaching me things, guiding me, and encouraging me and lifting me up and helping me get past the struggles I had. I cannot imagine the emotional turmoil that would come from daily or even just weekly, whatever, being regularly harassed over my weight from someone who's sitting in a chair overweight and treating me this way. I mean, because I don't even know this guy, Jim. Like, I've never met him, and he's going just full bore on talking about how I need to change when he doesn't know anything about me. Can you imagine his grandsons when he's comfortable to be his real self with them? At the very least, it's the same as what he's doing to me. It's probably worse, and it's more regular. And so I flat out told him, this is a pathetic excuse of how to treat people. No one deserves to be treated that way. You need to do some very deep soul searching. You need to look inside and fix what is wrong, because your grandsons don't deserve that to be what they see as a grandfather, because that's not being a grandfather. That's not being a man. And that is not doing something good for your family. I would be embarrassed to have to tell people I was related to you. So thank God I'm not. I was very blunt about this. And I'll explain a little more why in a second, but it was very blunt. His response then was to double down and tell me, well, you know what? Addicts don't deserve compassion. They need a harsh dose of reality. Ash can tell you I just about lost it. I wanted to reach through the phone and grab this person by the throat. So here's the problem. First of all, I have linked in the description box for you guys a couple of blog posts. You can go online and you can find this over and over and over and over in thousands of places. I just linked a couple just to give you a starting place. People who are struggling with addiction. Let's talk about someone like an alcoholic. People who are struggling with addiction. Every therapist worth their degree, worth their salt, who knows what they are talking about will tell you this whole judgmental, tough love, beat people up for their addiction, insult them, beat them down, you know, whatever. That does not work. It actually drives them deeper into the addiction that they have, because usually, and this is the same thing for carbohydrates, for food, for all of these issues we're dealing with, usually there is not just the physiological element of that addiction. There is a mental aspect to this. There is an emotional thing going on. There is a depression. There is a trauma response. There is something deeper going on in the mind of someone who is addicted to something like carbohydrates or alcohol, that it's not just the physiological addiction. There is a mental aspect. There is a psychological element to why they are addicted. And if they cannot treat the root cause, they're not going to be successful at getting clear and free of an addiction. And when you beat people down and you emotionally harass them, first of all, that's called abuse. That's what that is. It is straight up abuse. But when you do that to somebody, you not only are not making a positive impact in their life, you're driving them deeper psychologically and emotionally into their addiction. They're going to rely more on it, because now the thing that they thought they might be able to rely on for extra support as they're fighting to get out of this has now just ridiculed them, beaten them down, and you basically ruin the relationship, whatever that relationship is with that person. You drive them deeper into it. So now not only are they going to lean heavily, even more so, into that addiction, but on top of it, they're going to start hiding it from you because they're trying to reduce whatever ridicule and abuse comes their way as a result of not living up to your expectations. I flat out told this guy this, and I said, you are emotionally abusing your grandsons and you are ruining their relationship. And I said, my thought, you need to stop what you're doing. You need to beg for their forgiveness for this, and you need to look inside and change whatever it is that is so dark and twisted in you that you think abusing your family emotionally is the way to get them to do something positive, and you need to salvage whatever bit of relationship you have left with your grandsons. I said, personally, if I was your grandsons, I would stop talking with you. I would cut that off, and you'd never see me again. Because no one deserves to be treated that way, especially if they are truly struggling the way you say they are. This is when other community members started seeing our interactions go on. And interestingly, after I told Jim, I was like, if you have the balls to show up for my Monday morning live stream, feel free, because you're going to be the subject matter of it. So here we are. And I haven't seen Jim pop up in the comments, but if he ever does get the guts to pop up and show himself, hopefully he'll be willing to do that. Maybe he can make a stand for why he thinks what he's doing is okay. But after that, some community members saw this interaction going on, and I mean, they like laid into Jim because it was so apparent from the outside that it's like he is an aggressor in his family, and people are being victimized by his treatment of them. This is massively, massively out of line. And it's like, and he brought it to the channel to try to do the same thing with me. And I stood up to it right away, which is why he got so upset, because he's not used to people standing up to him, because he's a bully. And so he immediately went in and deleted his original comment. So of course, all the other stuff was gone. I did screenshot his username, so if it ever pops back up, I have a little picture of his username and I know who he is. But he deleted his comments. And I sat there talking to Ash about this, and I said, so essentially he wants to treat people like they are beneath him, and he wants to judge people, and he wants to harass and emotionally abuse people into doing what he wants them to do, under the guise that it's good for them. And then when you stand up to him for it, he gets angry and he blames the people that he's doing it to, saying they need this, it's good for them, it's a harsh dose of reality, and they don't deserve the compassion, they need this kind of treatment. And I looked at Ash and I said, isn't it amazing how someone can be textbook abusive person 101, where you do something to someone, make them your victim, and then blame them for the fact that they deserve what's being done to them. Blows my mind how blatantly clear it was that this man is emotionally abusive to his own family, and then blames his family for the reason that that's happening. There are so many reasons that that is something that is not just wrong, but drives me up a wall. I mean, it got under my skin bad, to the point that I have made the subject matter of this live stream talking about this. And the reason I'm talking about this is, again, there's many reasons that this gets under my skin to this point, and I'll let Ash chime in on her feelings about this, but I do not put up with abusive people. And if there was a way that I could do something to affect what he is doing to his family, I would. I have no idea who he is, where he is. There's nothing I can do. And his grandsons are adults. They don't need me to like step in and somehow, defend them like children. But I wish I could have a more impactful effect on their lives and stop this. But it matters, because I realize this is maybe just a little bit more clear and extreme version of what I see very dogmatic people in keto and carnivore spaces doing online, especially in like Facebook groups, where you come and you try to celebrate the fact that you found a product that works for you, or you try to celebrate a recipe, or you're looking for encouragement and help. And what do people do? I mean, not everyone, but there are people that will beat you down, and they will destroy any sense of success or self-confidence or anything. Zero compassion. They will ruin whatever they can about what you just posted, because it elevates them in their own minds above you. It makes them feel good to think that they are better than you. And there is a real severe sickness, and it's not a lot of people, but it is a very loud group of people. In the world of keto and carnivore, it is a severe sickness of pride to think, well, I'm a better carnivore than you. I'm more strict with keto than you. I know more than you. So therefore, you deserve to be treated this way, like you are somehow trash and less valuable. I see it happen. We have people we talk to that come to us almost to the point of tears because they're looking for some information about keto and carnivore. And when they go in a group and they ask a question, they get crucified for it. And it blows my mind that we all come from a place where we don't know any of this stuff. We don't know what we don't know. So we ask questions, we try to get information. And then some of us in the community have decided, well, I didn't know this, but now that I do, it's my job to use it as a weapon against everyone else who doesn't know. And then they do it under the guise of, oh, I'm helping you. And it's like, guess what? That's abuse 101. When you say you deserve this bad thing that's happening to you that I'm doing to you because it's your fault. Look what you made me do. Men that beat their wives say that to them. People who beat their children say that to them. Look what you made me do. It's a really severe sickness. And it's not a lot of people in the community, but it's some very loud people in the community. And it makes me angry because I remember what it was like being 400 pounds and riddled with anxiety and depression and feeling like I was worthless and looking in the mirror. It's like, do you know how many people might be on the line where they would consider taking their own life because they go someplace looking for help and that's the response that they get? It's asinine. It's ridiculous. And it's not a lot of people, but there are some people in the community that are very, very loud. And that's the way they treat people. And I wouldn't even mind, because there are people out there like that, and that's going to always be a reality because human beings are that way. But the thing that bothers me is I see this happening in places and no one will do a damn thing about it. No one goes to the person who's being ridiculed and says, hey, I don't know what this person's problem is, but I understand you're looking for help. Let me see if I can give you some information. Don't listen to people like this. You are valuable the way that you are. Now let's just help you figure out how to improve your life so you can live your life more fully. That's what I try to do. I go online anytime I can, and I do the best that I can to find people that need encouragement and just give them information. It's why I create these recipes. It's why I have a private group. It's why I have a YouTube channel in the first place. But I see this happening to people, and it's like these groups are just overrun by loud people because people who are good, like so many people in our community, get run out of these groups, and they just kind of tend to let this go, and they just sort of, well, it's not really my fight.
Yeah.
You know, and I get the advice all the time, like, don't argue with people like that. Just ignore people like that. And I totally understand there is a point where you are just blowing a hot air and it's not going to make a bit of difference. And I get that. But guys, sometimes people need some help, and there has to be someone that makes it publicly clear that this is not acceptable behavior and this is not what this community is about.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's real people out there who might be looking for help. They get to a point where they just give up. Because everywhere they go, they just get beaten down. They get called fat. They get told how it's not strict enough. They're not smart enough. This isn't good enough. Meat, salt, water recipes are stupid. I mean, I can give you dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of comments that I get about the stupidity of what I'm doing. And and then again, it's not about my ego. I don't care. You can think whatever you want about what I do. But it's like, okay, but what about all of the people around the world that need help that we're just saying, well, it's stupid, so, you know, just suffer and let your life end early? What about the people who talk about how my child has autism and getting them to eat a lower carb diet would be really good for their brain, but they react violently to weird food changes because they don't process things the way the rest of us do. Should that child just learn to eat their meat and get over it? Does that child deserve to be ridiculed and beaten down for their inability to just eat steak and eggs and be happy? What about someone who's elderly, who's trying to live the last part of their life to the best of their ability, like Rick's mom, like my grandfather? Because they can't just get over 60, 70, 80, 90 plus years of eating a certain way, should we just ridicule them for it, beat them down, and say, well, I guess your life's just going to have to end early then, be miserable? Like, is that an approach? Is that a solution? I would argue it's not. And I don't think that's a very hard argument to make. I think it's pretty clear that's not a solution. And so many of you in this community are so wonderful, which is why I'm talking with you about this, because the people in our community are not this way. I've done some live streams where I'm in other people's communities, and I see the way people in their comment section act, and I mean, I'm embarrassed for them. I'm like, this is the community you fostered that is helping people. It's embarrassing. Not because there's anything wrong with promoting, say, something like meat, salt, water, or don't cook with plastic, or whatever the buzz thing is you're doing, right? There's nothing wrong with promoting the things you think are healthy. But the way you treat people in the process of doing it says a lot of what you allow and what you foster. And it's embarrassing what you see going on in some communities in the keto and carnivore world. It really is. And I'm not even blaming like a creator for, like whatever's going on. Like, you can only have so much control, especially once your community gets to a certain size. But it's like, as the creator, what are you inspiring people to do? How are you inspiring people to treat other people? So this is me saying, you guys are an amazing community. You guys understand this. You are the kind of people who affect change in the world. And Ash and I have tried to foster that kind of community because that's what we want to be. And that's what we want this community to be. So I am telling you guys this story because I want to give you the charge wherever you are: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube. It doesn't matter in your daily life. I want you guys to be the difference the community needs, because you are the people who make this difference for us. I know you know how to do this because we are here because of you. All of you make the difference in our lives because you are the complete opposite of Jim. You are not abusive towards us in the comment section when Ash is having a weight stall and struggling with her hormones, when I'm creating a recipe that maybe isn't the cleanest version of carnivore, but might be helpful for somebody, might be helpful for some of you. You guys don't treat us like we're somehow less valuable because we don't have 6 packs and because we aren't at an ideal body weight just yet. You encourage us and you share things with us and you teach us as much as we hope to teach you. So as a creator who feels a responsibility to try to put good things out into the world, I can't do it all myself. I do it as best I can with every video I make and every live stream I do and every ebook I write and all of these things. I want you guys to join me in that. And everywhere you go on a daily basis, be it online or in person, see the value in those people who need your help. Defend the innocent, defend the weak, defend the people who aren't at a point where they have the mental clarity to defend themselves. And if you see someone being beaten up online, I'm not saying go get in an argument with the dogmatic people. Honestly, we can't change people like that. They have to choose to change. I don't want you to go and like start arguments with people and fight with people online. I'm not in any way saying to do that. But when you see people being treated that way, go to the person who's being treated that way, message them, comment to them in person, do whatever you can. Tell people they're not alone. Share with them the encouragement you have. Share with them your success. Share with them the resources, and use compassion in treating people like they are valuable, not because they can do carnivore or keto strictly enough. Don't make them live up to something. before they're valuable. Show them they're valuable already. And it's because of that value that they deserve to, one step at a time, clean up their diet, figure out what they need to do in their life, and change their life every day. That's what I want to do. And I want you guys, as the amazing community that we already know that you are, because we experience the love you show us every day, go out and intentionally do that every single day. And if somebody says, why are you doing this? Why are you working so hard to help so many people? Because one, we love people and they deserve it. Two, Chris Cooking Nashville is trying to change the world. I'm part of the crew who's trying to help him do it. And we're all fighting because you deserve that. You are valuable. You are worthwhile. Not because you're skinny, not because you eat cleanly enough, not because of any of these other stupid metrics. You're valuable because you are a human being who deserves to be treated this way and deserves the love and the compassion of somebody else who has the information that can help make your life better. Mm-hmm. That's why we're talking about this, because that is how we take this sickness that is very loud in this one small part of the community and we drown it out with positivity, compassion, encouragement. Light drives out the darkness and love drives out the hate. Mm-hmm. And that's what we're doing. Do you have thoughts on all of this, about all of these things? I know there's a lot for you in your own life that kind of gives you reasons to care about this as much as I do.
Well, and I know, and Chris shared this interaction with me. It's really hard, by the way, to get Chris worked up and angry. Being his wife, I should know. but yeah, I agree with everything that you said, and I don't want to go off on a whole tangent, make this all about me, but I think that I have to, I get worked up about this subject matter big time.
Right.
And we've kind of talked about this a bunch of the channel, but just so if, people are new, my dad, my biological dad is actually, in prison. And my dad actually was very abusive, and, I can't say too many things because of the censorship on YouTube, but I grew up in a household where abuse was just a daily thing. And I watched people who would have an idea about what was going on in my home choose not to do anything about it. And so when I was 18, my dad ended up walking away and he left us homeless, penniless, whatever. And, basically, to make a very long story short, I wanted to make sure my dad never came back and that he never did anything to me or my brothers ever again. And so I turned my dad into the cops. And I made sure he went to prison, and I was in witness protection. I have a whole story that goes along with all that. So a couple of things, though, just so you understand where I'm coming from, as someone who, like Jim's grandsons, have actually gone through this kind of a thing. I wanted to point out a couple things. One, why do you make me cry? I think I'm Christopher, but my heart breaks for Jim. Like, if he's watching this, Jim, I genuinely hurt for you, because I think somebody hurt you. This kind of behavior is not something that we just wake up one day and we decide to lash out and do things. This is something that was probably done to him. This is something that is what I like to call a generational curse. Mm-hmm. And Jim's father probably did this to him. And it goes on and on. And the way that we even eat today, stop and think about it. Mm-hmm. Your health habits, your food choices, all that is a generational curse. Yep. And so I would like to point out that Jim probably has demons.
Yep.
And so if he's watching this, I don't want to put Jim on a pedestal and us hate him. That's not what we're here to do.
Right.
If he actually shows up to this live stream, I hope and pray that he does. If he watches the replay at some point in time, I hope that he does, because it's not that we're trying to put him on a pedestal and say you're a bad person. It's who hurt you.
Yep.
And look at what you're doing now. And you're taking abuse that happened to you, and now you're passing it down through the generations. And unless your grandsons, your grandchildren decide to put their foot down and say, I know this was done to me, but I'm not going to do that to my kids. This is a toxic thing that literally goes through your lineage. And so I think that's really important to realize, Jim is hurting, and that's why he's lashing out.
And he is a valuable human being as much as anybody else. He's just choosing to behave in a way that is really toxic and really worthless. Not because he is worthless, because his behavior is.
Yes. And so remember that when we're talking about Jim, this is not to sit and hate on Jim. Jim has demons that he has not faced, and his actions are the consequences of him not dealing with those demons. And it is hard to deal with those things. So show some love and grace to Jim. This also brings up the point, though, that I think is really important, which is basically you need to be the change that you want to see in the world, right? So if you've eaten a certain way your whole life, if you yourself were abused, if you've been through things, if you know that those things are bad, right? If your eyes have been open, then when you have that knowledge and that healing and you've gone through all that stuff, don't turn around and be what Chris is describing as someone who's dogmatic, that then goes, well, let me now turn around and do the abuse that I suffered to somebody else because now it makes me feel inferior. Because that's really what that is. Yep. So when you see someone who's being critical, who's being dogmatic, who is pessimistic, who is whatever, it's really just a thing that you need to be aware of. And so that's why it's really important to be very careful about who you surround yourself with, who you listen to, and you need to go be the change you want to be in the world. If you have a loved one who doesn't believe in a low carb lifestyle, I'm sure you're frustrated because it's like, I have the answer and the knowledge, but they're not listening. But if you beat them up over the head over that, you're not helping them. And so instead of, cramming stuff down their throat or picking fights and arguments or being like Jim and simply just criticizing them for what they do, be the change that you want to see. If you start losing weight, getting your health back, get rid of your depression, your anxiety, like all these different things, you are going to inspire them to then grow up and be the best version of themselves and to do what's right for them. But without your example and you saying, yep, I'm not going to do this anymore, I'm going to, move forward and I'm going to do all that, that's really, I think, the big takeaway.
Yep.
And so then if Jim's grandsons are watching, it breaks my heart and it's, a hard road, but I would challenge them if they're watching, that basically it's like, you guys need to realize what your grandfather has done. And I'm so sorry for that because you don't deserve that, but please realize that, get your own health in check, be the change. And then also don't let that keep trickling down and going down in your own family.
Yep.
I mean, just don't but that is also a lot on a person to have that pressure. And I clearly would know because this is what I did in my family where it's like, I don't want to have to deal with these things. I don't want to have anything to do with it. And so I changed. And, we're always open to, so we talk about weight and health and journey. And I think there's a lot of different sides of all that. You know what I mean? It's what we eat. It's our mental health, our physical health. There's so much that goes into being healthy. And so, part of that for me is like, I talk about this really openly a lot of the time, but people are like, wow. So like, if this is where you come from, this is where you grew up and this is that, like, how are you so different today? And if you believe differently than us, that's totally fine. You're more than welcome. I'm just speaking from a personal standpoint, which is I gave my life to Jesus Christ. And that is the full reason why I was able to let go of all that stuff from my past, how I grew up. And I pray the same for Jim and his family. Yeah. So that's it. That's what I got.
I think it's really important to understand, too, when we're talking to people, we don't understand a lot of times the things that are in their head that they are going through, the things they are fighting against. And so a really good example of this is, I do recipes. I've told you guys, Ash does not like eggs, right? She does not like things that taste like eggs, baked eggs, any of that kind of stuff. She also does not like liver.
Nope.
She does not want to be able to taste liver in anything. Both of those are related to trauma memories from her past. And so when I hear people say, Ash just needs to get over it and learn to eat liver. Ash just needs to, get over it and learn to eat eggs. You have absolutely no idea what you're asking her to do. So when I make a recipe and it doesn't taste like eggs,
it's a good thing.
That's how you know it legitimately does not taste like eggs, because the tears that you're seeing right here, that's one of the reactions that she has when something tastes like eggs. I have people say, Chris, you should show your failures. This is what my failures look like.
Well,
I mean, they do.
Yeah.
When I make something that you can taste baked eggs in, she will not eat it, because if she forces herself to eat it, this is the response that she has to it.
Yeah. Well,
so
and I think I think a lot of people can relate to that, or even
Yes.
just on. So maybe like you weren't abused as a kid, but you can't tell me that there's food that has a certain memory attached to it,
Absolutely.
or a smell, or a taste where it takes you back somewhere. Or, you know, maybe you got food poisoning at one point, and then for years and years and years, it's like you can eat that food again because you're like, oh, it you know, it makes me sick.
Right.
And so, but that's like, I didn't eat eggs for years and years and years.
You didn't start eating scrambled eggs until you and I had been together for at least a year or two.
Yeah, probably. So I probably only have started going back to eating things that are eggs, or taste like eggs even, probably within the past 4 to 5 years.
Yeah.
Other than that, I wouldn't even eat scrambled eggs.
Yeah.
So, and it's not that I don't want to, or I'm trying to be difficult or make it like a woe is me type thing, but it's like, man, when you feed me that, this is what I go back to. Right. And so there's a whole thing. And I think a lot of people are that way though.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, honestly, I think as society, you know, thinking about Jim and his grandsons and stuff, this isn't about me, but I'm just saying, like, I feel for his grandsons, because I'm like, I don't know what is really going on behind doors in that house.
Yeah.
But if this is the way Jim is, well, then what is Jim's children like? And now clearly, if he's doing this with his grandsons, this is right. a trickling down effect.
Right.
But it's like, what kind of abuse are they suffering? And so, you know, it's even things like sometimes making people feel guilty.
Yeah.
You know, like a comment will be made, like if you're eating something, you know, you shouldn't be eating. And then it's like, someone will make a comment that's kind of like, well, don't eat that, you know, or they call you fat and be like, you know, put down the donut, put down the whatever. Right. And now it kind of makes you just feel dirty and guilty. And so now every time that you go to reach for that food for probably a good while, that plays in your head. And now you just feel like you're worthless and not worth anything.
Yeah.
So it's like,
there's so much attached to these things.
Yeah.
And this is why, like, the beating people up in the comments thing, it's like, you have no idea what that person is going through. You know, the number of people who have come to us since we've been doing this in comment sections, even in person. And it's like, I'm really struggling with this idea of keto carnivore, or I'm really struggling with my weight, or I'm struggling with this, I'm struggling with that. And for whatever reason, people are willing to open up to Ash and I about things that I don't think they've opened up to anyone about for decades.
And we are
it
honored
happens
by
regularly. We take that
Yes.
responsibility seriously.
Yes.
And this is why I'm so passionate about this, because I have sat in a camper on tour and watched a man break down in front of me about watching his brother when he was in high school get killed. I have watched Ash sit there and talk to him as he breaks down, talking about why he drinks and why she's talking about how great it is that she's sober now and she doesn't drink anymore. I have watched people come to us and talk about the trauma of their past, the relationships that they have had that were abusive, that have led them to not want to take care of their health because, well, if I'm out of shape and I don't look good, then I don't have to worry about what someone will do to me. I mean, I don't think maybe a lot of people understand, like they see me making carnivore tortilla chips and they think, oh, it's a fat carnivore who doesn't understand what carnivore is and he's making tortilla chips because he makes money on YouTube. They have absolutely no clue what it is we're doing on a daily basis. The responsibility of the people who come to us and share the things with us they do is a lot. And I wouldn't ask for it to be any other way. But it's a lot. It's a huge responsibility to feel like you're the person that someone is willing to open up to about things that maybe they haven't talked to anybody about for their whole life. And it's related to the choices they're making with food and all these kinds of things. And then you go online and you see people beating other people up. And it's like, you realize the potential of what could be going on behind the scenes. And that's why I get so upset about this.
Yeah.
Because this is the experience I'm having. And I'm sharing this with you guys because Ash and I are two people. We can't do this for the whole world. But we can try to inspire as many people as possible to look at this and understand this the way that we are seeing this behind the curtain and foster a community that can make this kind of difference for people, right? Ash and I are just regular people. I mean, we're musicians. Mm-hmm. We're not therapists. We're musicians, and people just want to talk to you, and they want encouragement, and they need compassion when they're struggling with these things.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is why it's so important, though, to be kind to everyone, to listen to the words that are coming out of your mouth. Even if someone isn't doing something perfect, you don't have to condone the way they're doing it. You don't have to agree with eating carbohydrates or doing something different, but you can't go bashing them around the head. There's a way that you can encourage people without totally just being like, yeah, eat all the, donuts and Twinkies you want. That's not what we're saying, but it's like, you can't just go around bashing people who are trying to learn the information that you have, or that are trying to better their lives. Right. It doesn't work.
Right. We have to be the change that other people need, because nothing is going to ever get done to help people if we just leave people to suffer through their own devices and then ridicule them when they don't do it right.
Yeah.
So, like I told you guys, heavy subject matter today, but I think it's a really important one.
It is. Because I'm not putting blame to anybody, but I think it's really important, clearly, to learn all about how to eat better and take better care of yourself. But part of that is also realizing things like abuse is real and it happens. And, it's about who you surround yourself with. It's about all of these different things. And if no one is talking about this kind of stuff, well, then where do the people like Jim and his grandsons, and I'm sure there's even people here in the comment section who have gone through some of this, where that stuff sticks with you.
Yeah.
And if you let what Jim is doing, like with his grandsons, so what he has done to his grandsons, probably their whole life, and probably to his parents, that sticks like a leech and will suck you dry. And it literally prohibits you from being the best version of yourself and from being successful. Right. And then you start to believe that you're worthless, and you're not, you're loved, you're cherished. But like these, I call them demons, get in your head. And all of a sudden it really starts to trip you up, especially when you start to get on the right path and be successful. They come along, they get inside your head, and they try to take you off.
Yeah.
So unless you confront these things and we deal with it and we talk about it and we go, hey, so you're not alone. Let's do that. And that's why I love what we do so much, because it's, we've talked about it, but like Chris started, the YouTube channel because it's like he wanted to be the support system that he never had. Yeah. He's like, I want to create a space where it's like, man, when I was starting out and doing this stuff, I wish that I had this. Yeah. And I think that's kind of like our approach to life, is we try to be what we needed when we didn't have it.
And I think it's important to note too, I didn't have a support system for this kind of stuff, not because the people who care about me didn't want to be. Like, my parents want nothing more than to be a support system for both of us. Ash is a support system for me. But here's, my parents were struggling with their health and keto and carnivore and learning all about this at the same time as I was. Ash and I didn't know anything about this. We were doing this together. And it's like, people who don't know the difference, and they're still trying to learn themselves, and they don't have the information to help you, they can't help you when you're struggling with something like that. So the support system that I had was, for all of these other things in my life, fantastic, but it wasn't helpful for keto and carnivore because no one that was in my support circle knew anything about keto and carnivore, at least not to the level that they could then help me with it. My dad introduced me to Dr. Barry because he was researching and he was learning about this. He did what he could, and we've learned about it together, really. And that's how we've gotten here. So it's like, truthfully, like, my dad was elemental in saving my life by introducing me to Dr. Barry. This is why I love Dr. Barry and Nisha so much, because when we say they've saved our lives, and I've told Dr. Barry this when I met him, but it's like, we legitimately feel them saving our lives on a daily basis and inspiring us to try to save others. But I needed a support system when I was struggling with this, and I didn't know where to go for one. So I am trying to create the one that I wish I would have had, and I'm inspiring you, hopefully, to be a part of it with me, because I don't want to do it alone. I can't do it alone and have the kind of impact I want to have. But I always say we're all better doing this together. this is what I'm talking about. This is why my private community exists. This is why I put out recipes. This is why I do Monday morning motivation. This is why I respond to every single comment on my YouTube, on my Facebook, on my Instagram, on my private networks, like all of this stuff. And I'm not perfect. And, I'm as susceptible to falling into things as the next person. And so that's why we all have to keep each other honest and do the best we can. But this is why we do what we do. And it really matters.
Mm-hmm. And next week, we're going to pick a really happy subject.
Yes. Next week, we're talking about clouds and puppies and flowers.
Rainbows and
glitter and pixie dust. And yeah. But no, this is really important stuff. And it's very difficult to sit and listen to the woman that I love more than anything talk about the things that she struggled with, because I don't have the power to go back in time and change it. This is also why I get really, really defensive of her if someone comes in the comments and attacks her or comes and criticizes her, because it's like people who have said this kind of stuff have no clue what she's been through. I also remember I had a lady in the comment section. This has been like a year ago when we started doing the health vlogs together. You remember?
Yeah.
And I had a lady come in the comment section and basically say I was talking over top of Ash and I was doing all this kind of stuff. And I was like, what are you talking about? And I was kind of going back and forth with her a little bit. And then she basically said my behavior was indicative of someone who's abusive. And I was like, you know nothing about my wife and you have zero clue just the ridiculous things you were throwing around, because everything she has been through and everything that I'm doing, I do everything I know how to make sure she never experiences anything like that again in her life. And because you don't like what I said to you on YouTube because I called you out for an ignorant comment, now you're going to accuse me of being the very thing that she escaped from. And I'm like, it's wild what people will sometimes say when they don't know what's going on in the background. And that's why I'm charging all of you with being a part of our community here to help us be different than that. Because we don't want to be like that. I don't want you guys to be like that. I want all of us to be a force to be reckoned with for compassion and love and positivity in this space and encouraging people to save people's lives. I want people to go, man, you must be part of Chris Cookin Nashville's community because you are so encouraging and so helpful, and you have so much resource and you have so much of a desire to help people. That's what we are here for. That's what I want my channel to be known for. Carnivore mashed potatoes is great. I love that people love my recipes, but the heart behind why those recipes exist, that's the legacy that I can leave in the world.
Absolutely.
Someday when I'm gone, that's what I want people to remember me for doing.
I think, too, just one more little point, if you don't care, and then we'll say hey to some folks and I'm sure go through the comments and all. But, something else is, you were talking about like how, so I left all this stuff from my childhood and my abusive dad and all this, behind. I think something that's important that people need to remember is you have gone through all of the different things that you have gone through in life. And when you confront your demons and you go through all these different things and then you're able to basically heal and move on from all that, you actually have what I like to think of as like a superpower. And as long as your perspective and your head is on right, it's really a beautiful thing. And what I mean by that is, like, I really hate to see Chris, for example, have to get to the point where he is 400 plus pounds and has depression and anxiety and all of these health issues. But I've also now watched him lose 130 plus pounds. And I watched him start this community and I watched him do all these things. And I see his heart for people and I see why he wants to help people. But if he hadn't gone through all the terrible things of getting to that point with his health, of being 400 pounds and doing all this, he wouldn't be the same person that he is today. And so when people are struggling with different things and all that, there's no way he could relate, and I think it's the same thing for me. It's like, okay, well, I grew up and then I left all this behind, but why do people feel comfortable sharing struggles with me? Yeah. And it's like, that is a superpower. And so it kind of goes back to, no matter what you've been through in life and all the things, you have to go be the change that you want to be. And if you realize that you have been through things and you have experiences, and as long as you've confronted them and you've healed from them, you literally are like a superhuman.
Yeah.
And you can either choose to keep that to yourself, or you can go forward and basically literally change the world.
Yep.
I mean, there's two paths here. It's pretty black and white. And so I think that's what we're trying to, encourage. You have a slogan that you say a lot where it's changing one plate at a time.
Changing the world one plate at a time.
Yeah, exactly. And it's
the changing the world is the important part of that. And that's, I think most people just hear the one plate at a time part because I do recipes. And it's like, yeah, the one plate at a time is important, but it's the changing the world, which is the underlying factor in that whole concept.
It really is. But yeah, I think that's just something really important to keep in your mindset, that you guys have the power to go out and actually help people and change people. And if you confront things and whatever, that's part of healing. Overall health, food is a very big portion of it. Yes. But there is like the mental and the emotional side. And especially if you're self-sabotaging yourself, which I know is very common, this can be a real issue. And so please know that we are here to support you and encourage you. Yeah. And we're not here just to make carnivore mashed potatoes or,
we'll be doing that.
We'll be doing that. Yeah.
It's not the only
and many
thing.
other tasty things, but yeah, but I think Chris and I, through our own journeys, just understand that this is all so much deeper. Yeah. And there's a lot of people that I think maybe don't have the experiences that we do. And we're just real people. Yeah. And we're simply just trying to be real and open and vulnerable and share things with you guys, not because of any other reason than we hope it helps somebody. Whether it's Jim and his grandsons, whether it's anyone watching. And that is the whole reason why we're put on the earth. And we just try to go forward boldly and do that. And we want to encourage you to do the same thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm very proud of my wife for sharing things the way that she does. She's an amazing woman.
I will. You're sweet. You're very sweet.
All right, let's see who's all here and what all of the "oh my gosh, you people are crazy" comments they might be giving us.
I love this part. It's visually talking.
Angela says, "Thank you so much for the chocolate recipe. My son, who doesn't do keto, let alone carnivore, asked for them. He said they tasted like regular waffles." And that right there is why recipes matter.
That's amazing. Hey, speaking of, are you going to tell them what you're going to do tomorrow night?
Yeah. So I did a oven roasted pork belly, which was amazing. And if you roast it the right way, you can shred it. So you can make it like shredded pork, except it's pork belly. So it's like shredded bacon, uncured bacon, essentially. It's amazing.
Delicious. Super
fatty and just unbelievable. We are doing carnivore waffles with shredded pork belly and gravy.
Yes.
It's going to be amazing.
Tomorrow night,
because we have leftover pork belly. And it was like, what can I do with this? And I'm like, I know what I can do.
I know what I can do. It's going to be so good.
Rick says there are hardcore carnivores like Dr. Baker, Dr. Chafee, and Rick Quack, and the cigar and coffee carnivores like Mitch, but we're all on the same team.
That's right.
Yes, we are. We're all on the same team, and that's what we're asking you guys to do. Be here, be on our team, and let's just go help people. Mm-hmm. Let's go save people's lives, guys. We have an ability to do amazing things for people. We just have to do it. We just have to do it. Let's see. Carrie is here. Says, hello, everyone. I'm late to the party. Just finished 2 Crazy Ketos. They do a live stream. Yeah, no problem. We're glad you're here.
Yeah.
Lady Fritzer says, given the other things AI is doing with bots, I wouldn't be surprised to learn that bots are programmed to be destructive keto carnivore personas to undermine the natural momentum. I mean, listen, I'm always down for a good conspiracy theory. It's very possible. And there would definitely be financial interest for people to figure out how to make that happen.
Mm-hmm.
So
sure.
But that's why it's so important we fight against it, guys. Don't let that happen. Whether it's real people or bots, we don't let that happen. Mm-hmm. Sandra's here, says good morning.
Good morning.
John says it's 25 degrees there. That is pretty cold.
Yeah, that is pretty chilly.
Carrie has a good question. Chris, for the longest time I was filtering my water because of the contaminants in there. Now I feel stupid from the comments from some people. What do you think? Carrie, here's the deal. I think filtering your water, if you can, is fantastic. Mm-hmm. The better you can do with that, great. The better it is. You also say you can't afford a filter. The thing about this is you have to realize, Dr. Barry just did a video or a short, I think it was, about how microplastics are everywhere and you cannot get all of them out of your diet and out of your body. It's just not possible. We live in a world where you're surrounded by them. The only thing you can do is limit them. So if you can afford a filter, filter your water. If you can't afford a filter, do the best you can. And then when you can afford a filter, start to filter your water. You just, again, do the best you can, limit your contaminants, limit things where you can. This goes back to that thing. We cannot be perfect. No matter how hard we try, we will never be perfect. It's impossible.
Also, Carrie, if it helps, recently Chris and I went through a thing where we wanted to get like toxics and different things out of our environment and out of our home. And clearly if we did that overnight, it would be way too much money that we can afford. But maybe you could just try to figure out like a budget. Maybe it's just $5 or $10 a month. And you just kind of prioritize things. Like, you know, I don't know your environment, your home, your diet, but it's like, if you want to make changes, but you can't afford to do all that, you know, just figure out how much you need to save up and what's a priority. Is it getting, you know, the water filtered or not? Or maybe it's something else, but try to just do that and make a budget and try to stick to it.
Yep. Absolutely. Let's see. Carrie's interacting. Everybody else saying hello. Yeah. Rick says, I fooled my mom into eating carnivore croissants I made. Well, that's the thing, you know, if you make stuff like that and someone loves it and you can increase, you know, the good things in their diet, like do it, you know, and that's awesome. And that sounds like, you know, like you said, like at the end of her life, you probably extended her life by giving her good things that made the time she had a little bit better and maybe a little bit longer. And that's all we can do.
Absolutely.
Sandra says, both my 83-year-old mom and 86-year-old daddy so bad, and my parents ridicule my carnivore diet. Sandra, I understand.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people think this is crazy. And that's why we have to be so careful about trying to help teach people this and not come off as crazy, because we're already fighting an uphill battle. You know, and I know that's hard. I know that's hard, but that's why this community is here. Because hopefully your parents will come around. Hopefully they'll see what it's doing for you, you know, and hopefully maybe they'll be around long enough to be able to do maybe some changes in their own lifestyle in time and enjoy, you know, the later part of their life even more.
Sure.
So, let's see. Lori says, love the covert carnivore.
Covert. Nice.
Let's see. Rick says, mom had infection every year from 2009, 2013, but when I started cooking first year, she had none until 2018. I made her heart attack burgers junior with lettuce and pickles, fermented myself as well. That's awesome.
That's really cool.
So cool. And yes, I absolutely believe that had an impact on why those infections were held off until 2018.
Absolutely. Yeah. It makes a big difference.
And then it's the thing, like, I mean, we're fighting, you know, probably decades of bad things that we've done to our bodies, but, you know, even if it's not perfect, it's an improvement.
Yeah.
And it's like, get every improvement you can, you know. Just Me Marla's here, says school starts back next week, so this will be my last live for a bit. Well, that's okay, no. Marla. We'll miss you being here, but come watch the replays when you're not at school.
There you go.
Let's see. Sherry says biscuit. Did somebody say biscuit?
Doesn't look biscuit.
I'm still working on it, but we're getting there. And she also says amazing. What a rude statement. Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Mixed Media Art Girl is here, says that's a lot to lose.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sure is.
Yep. You can ask my knees and my ankles how much I've lost. They'll tell you.
Well, it's a whole person.
That's right. I love this. Auntie says fat, fantastic, and terrific.
I love that.
Yes, love it. Tammy says so cliche, but true. Haters are going to hate. That's amazingly true.
Yeah.
Sandra says that's amazing weight loss, Chris. Congratulations. Thank you, Sandra. You guys can go back and look at like my earlier videos on the channel. And like I had already lost some weight before I started this channel, but you can see from the first of this channel to now, just a huge difference in me.
It's amazing. Even like if you watch Chris's like older first couple recipe videos, even personality wise, like yes, he's bigger, but even personality wise, it really is really amazing to me because he's very like monotone, doesn't really show a lot of like emotion, no energy. Yeah, no energy. It's incredible.
Yeah. Angela says, ouch, why bother watching if you're going to be like that? It's a good question.
Yeah. Well, I think this goes back to Jim clearly has some issues and demons, because in Jim's mind, he's claiming that he thinks by ridiculing Chris and calling him fat and all these horrible things,
inspiring me and helping me,
that's supposed to inspire you to change.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, no.
Yeah. Which is amazing, because it's like, I'm not the person who needs the inspiration. I'm already doing the things to change.
Right. You've already lost so much and you're continuing to.
I'm already on the journey. You don't need to worry about me. This is like trying to start the engine of a car that's already driving on the highway.
Right.
Like, you're already going. You don't need to get it started. You're good.
Yeah.
Mixed media art girl. No matter what you do or look like, there will be hurt people who try to hurt you, and there will be those that love you and everything about you. So might as well just be unapologetically yourself.
Love it.
I'm good at doing that, sometimes to a fault. Ask my wife.
Yep, it's true.
Lynn says, not only have you lost a huge amount of weight, but you've done so much to improve your health. So awesome. That rude person can shut it. Yeah. I agree.
Right on, Lynn.
Angie says, success is not just about the scale. During the carnivore journey or any weight loss journey, there are so many non-scale victories. Everyone is a success. Jesus loves us, even with all of our flaws.
Yes.
Amen, Angie. Stacy says, we feel so blessed to have our keto family's love, prayers, and care while we are under the weather. Thank you for being so loving. Of course.
Of course.
John, carnivore, so crazy, it just might work. Yeah.
Just might. Who knows?
She says, Mixed Media Art Girl says, well, at least dude owned up to exactly what he was doing. You got to respect the bold honesty.
Absolutely.
That's right. Yep. Janelle says, sounds like Jim has some serious issues. He could use prayers, as could his family. Amen to that. Time Traveler Karen is here, says Connecticut here. Hello, Karen. Good to see you.
Yeah, morning.
Mixed Media Art Girl. Well, I can imagine. That's why I developed anorexia and disordered eating for years.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the thing. Like, this leads to these kinds of things for people who are, this kind of stuff. So, Rick says, lead by example. Words are cheap. The pot calling the kettle black. Absolutely. Absolutely. Auntie says, my grandma was always critical. I believe she was a founding WW member. I think she was almost equally loving and critical. It was so confusing. Yeah. And that's the thing, sometimes, like, it's not even that sometimes people mean to do this. They're so lost in the midst of it, they can't see that they're doing it.
Yeah.
Or they can't see what's wrong with doing it, perhaps. So that's why we have to be so intentional to not be that way. And we have to watch for this in ourselves. I have the tendency to do that as much as anybody else does. And I'm very intentional to try to check myself. Am I being critical of someone? If I am, I need to figure out how not to be. Like,
absolutely.
We're all human. We're all capable of that. Brenda says elephant tears. He so did not say that about addiction. Yeah, unfortunately he did. He did. That was a direct quote, unfortunately.
Wow.
Jim needs to make some changes. Might need some of the psychiatric benefits of a PhD. I agree.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Marla says, I want to hug his grandkids. My mom just passed away and constantly made comments about my weight. It really does a number on your mind. It does.
It does. Yeah.
It does. Carrie says, I was an alcoholic till 2008. Then I stopped cold turkey and have been sober since then, 17 years. Congrats, Carrie. Good for you.
That's amazing.
Amazing.
That's awesome.
Auntie says, told her client she's having allergies because of the tears.
I told you guys, I swear next week we're going to do a way happier.
That's right. We're going to do a happy subject.
Yes, exactly.
Happy subject. Next one. Sandra says, sounds like Jim is a sad bully. Unfortunately, yeah. Yeah. John says, I've done that diet when around certain people and eat crap. When none of the judgmental peeps are around, now I don't care. I know what I'm doing works. And that's good. And that's good. That's what we got to do, right? So, Melanie says, we certainly get a harsh dose of reality just by being alive on a daily basis. We don't need a family bully. Life is certainly hard enough without a family bully. Yeah, and actually in our conversation, that's one of the things I said to Jim. I was like, your grandsons are going to get enough of this from the world. They don't need it from you too. And that's the thing. Like, the world is going to kick you while you're down. You don't need to then turn around to your family for support and have them also kick you while you're down.
Yeah.
So, and if that is happening to any of you, I'm very sorry, But that's why our community is here, because we will not kick you while you are down. We are here to try to help lift you up.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we do. Angie says those are the haters, and they obviously have something wrong within themselves, so they make others feel bad to boost themselves up. It's abusive. It's unacceptable. We should pray for them. I agree.
Totally agree.
John makes a great point. You are not me. You know nothing about me, so I won't tell you what you should do, and you don't tell me what I should be doing. You can tell me what works for you, and I might try it if I think I could help, because we're all adults. We get to decide what we want to do.
Very true.
Sandra says family should always be a safe place. So sad a lot of the time it's the worst place for criticism and ridicule. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mary is here, says finally caught a live show. Yay, preach, Chris. Well, Mary, you tuned into a doozy for the first one to be live.
I'll say we're usually not this intense.
Yes. But we're very glad you're here, Mary.
Yes.
Stephen says Jim needs our prayers to help him realize his plight of ignorance.
Yeah.
I agree.
He really does, though.
He really, really does.
And that's the thing, again, we're not trying to beat up Jim, but it's...
No. I have a lot of righteous anger towards Jim's behavior. I have no thought that Jim is somehow less worthy as a human being of all of this. I'm very bold and blunt about the fact that he's in the wrong, but it's not because Jim is less valuable. It's because Jim is very lost in a very dark place about it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's unfortunately putting that on other people. Sherry says, I got to bounce for about an hour. I'll rewatch the end later. Awesome Monday morning motivation today. Well, thank you, Sherry. See, we made it all the way through
and you didn't put
with her and not being able to stick around anymore, and I didn't put her in timeout. So there we go.
There you go.
If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, on a Keto Simple live stream, I dropped my phone in the mud, and in the process trying to catch it, somehow, because I'm moderator on Dustin's channel, somehow accidentally deleted a comment from one person and also put Sherry in a 10-minute timeout, like just by fumbling with my phone trying to get it out of the mud. So it was really something.
It was pretty funny.
Addicted to Antler says, thank you, Chris, for being a loving, caring human being. You too, Ash. Well,
of
I appreciate that. Listen, I'm not perfect, and some days I struggle with it more than others because I'm human like everybody else, but I just want to help people. I really, really do. Sandra says, thank you, Chris and Ash, for your stand on this subject. Love you all for speaking up rather than ignoring it.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I think sometimes it's like, I know this cannot be always the funnest thing. Funnest is not a word, but I'm going to use it as one.
I get it.
It's just, it's not always the easiest thing or the most fun thing to talk about, but it's like, this is important because a lot of people are struggling with these things. And if you don't talk about it, well, then you're not creating a space where they can come and share things.
Right.
It's just, you're not helping heal people. You're just kind of being like, nope, I got my stuff together. I'm good.
Absolutely. John says, what you do is not stupid. It's brilliant. Well, I appreciate that, John.
Mm-hmm.
You know what they say? Everyone thinks you're crazy until you succeed at doing it, and then they think you're a genius.
Yep. That's what they say.
So Andy says recipes aren't stupid. I love recipes. Apparently so do 117K people. Love you both. Love you, Andy. Thank you.
Yeah.
I honestly, I know that there are people out there that love this, that it helps. And it's like, if that's my calling, then that's what I'll do. I'll help those people and as many others as I can convince to listen.
Mm-hmm. We love you, Andy.
Barry Weems is here. Have a blessed day. Great video. You
Thanks,
also
Barry.
have a blessed day, my brother. Be careful out there.
Mm-hmm.
Patricia Hoffman is here. Man, I'm late this morning. Love to you all. Well, Patricia, we're very glad that you're here.
Yeah.
We appreciate you being here.
Absolutely. Hope you're doing well.
Depending on what part you tuned into, that might have been very intense. So thank you for being here. And there's my buddy Victor at Southern Keto. Hey, Chris and Ash, happy Monday to y'all. I agree 100%. Y'all do a great job with this very thing. Well, thank you, Victor.
Thanks.
You do a great job of this. If you guys are not subscribed to Southern Keto, you should. He also has a private Facebook group that you can just go join and do stuff in his Facebook group. And very, very encouraging people.
Yes.
So Victor,
great people.
Victor and I are very much brothers in arms on this whole like help people and stand up to the bullies thing on YouTube. So. Let's see. John says promoting something is fine, but don't promote stuff like a vegan your way or nothing is annoying.
Yeah.
I agree. And that's the thing, the people who come from veganism, they're vegans that are great people.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's some vegans that are in kind of the cult side of veganism where it's like, you have to do this and we have to force other people to do it. And we should legislate other people have to do this. And it's a very my way or the highway angry thing. And we just, we just don't want to do that. Rick says most good people never have a six-pack.
That's true.
Listen,
That's
I
true.
understand.
Yeah.
I agree. Ian Stewart is here. Hello to Chris Nashville, Ontario, Canada. Yes, you two are standing out for empathy and compassion. We're trying to. We are certainly trying to. Andy says, just downloaded the ebook. You're doing a great job, and I feel privileged to know you in person and calling you a friend. Well, Andy, we are privileged to have you as a friend, and we appreciate you. Thank you for downloading the ebook. If you guys didn't know, I wrote an ebook all for this exact purpose. It's about 60 pages. It's an easy read, and it's all about introduction to keto and carnivore and just the basics of what is keto and carnivore? What are the basic health things you're probably going to wonder about? What are some foods you're going to want to eat? What are some simple recipes to get you started? Where can you go for more support? Kind of if I would have taken the first 3 years I was doing keto carnivore research and condensed it all into one simple thing to get me started on day one, that's what this ebook is. It's called Keto and Carnivore for Real People. You can go to my website. You can download it. The link is in the description box. You can also just go to chriscookingnashville.com, click the tab that says free ebook and resources. You can get that free ebook. You do not need to put in a credit card number. Just had this conversation with someone last night. It says on the page you don't have to put in a credit card number, but in case you miss it, you just need to put in your email address, because that's where they're going to send the book, and you need to punch in your physical address to prove you're not a computer.
Yep. We don't store your physical address or anything like that. No spam, no nothing. But that is a law, because we need to prove you're a real person.
Yep. That way it's not a bot just downloading it and then sending it out and doing weird things with it. It's a whole thing. So you can go download that for free, share the link with friends who might think something like that is helpful, or who might be interested in this, and it will save them 2 to 3 years of research of figuring out what are the basic things that I need to do, because I can give them the basics in that book, and then I can tell them who should you go listen to and who should you go look at for further information for your health specifically. So guys, make sure to download that and tell everybody about it, because I think it's really cool.
Absolutely.
I wish I would have had it when I first started this.
Yeah, it would have really helped. Yeah.
Melanie says, wouldn't it be amazing if we started a diet and woke up the next day in shape and with a six-pack? All diets are a journey. It always takes time. You're absolutely right.
Yes, definitely.
Rick makes a good point. Some people prefer to not have a six-pack. Yeah. Especially because of some of the work it takes to have a six-pack that sticks out that way. Like, that's a really intense thing. Some people aren't trying to get their body fat that low because they don't feel good doing it. So, you know. And Rick says, if you are active and have no chronic pains, you're healthy, in my opinion.
That's very
And I agree. And you know what? Your body will, in time, settle out on the ideal weight that makes it feel good.
Yes. Absolutely.
And it takes time. It's a slow process. Your body does not lose weight as fast as it possibly can when it has other things to do. So great point, Rick. Victor says, Chris is much nicer than me. I love to argue. Well, here's the deal, Victor. I love to argue. I really do with these things. Yeah. And thumbs up. And Ash sometimes has to be like, babe, calm down. It's not worth arguing anymore. And I'm like, I know, but it's the righteous anger thing. It really is. And it doesn't happen very often. Like Ash said, I'm pretty, like, listen, I can get perturbed or annoyed, but to be angry, I almost am never angry about anything.
I think there's maybe one time in our whole life together at this point where I think I've maybe even remotely seen you start to get angry. But righteous anger, though, I think is a different thing. Yeah. And that's the thing, though. You kind of also, honestly, with like this gym guy that we've been talking about, if he would have just made a comment, saying, calling you fat and just kind of being a jerk, that's not when Chris got mad or angry. It's when he talked about what he was doing with his grandsons and all that. And then this led us on to this whole thing. And it's like, that's the righteous anger, because you're trying to stick up for someone else and then being able to pray for them and hope for the best, but also go, you know what, let's use this as a teaching tool, because then maybe more people won't have to deal with this type of thing going forward. So
Ash will tell you, I get a lot more upset about someone doing something to someone else than I do someone doing something to me.
Yeah.
It's like, you can call me anything all day long, and I'm just like, yeah, well, you're dumb, so whatever. But when I see you do it to someone else, ooh, I go into do guys have mama bear mode? I don't know. Yeah, I guess. I don't know what mode I go into, but I go into a, not happening on my watch kind of mode, whatever that is. I get very, very upset. And truthfully, my grandfather and my dad both very different personalities in the way that they handle this kind of stuff, but both of them absolutely would never tolerate someone treating another person that way who was innocent or any of that kind of stuff. I learned that very much from them. Of you protect people, you care for people. So that's where some of that comes from. Let's see. Janelle says sending hugs, Ash.
Oh, you're sweet.
Sandra says bless your heart, Ash.
Oh, you're very sweet.
Carrie says, why'd the rubber ducky bring a snorkel to the bath? To explore the deep end of the tub.
Carrie, you got the jokes.
I love it.
Yep.
Carrie also says, there was a wonderful speaker at my church this Sunday, and she told her story, and I was able to go to the altar and finally broken free from all the generational curses, and now just blessings. That's great.
Amazing.
And that's important for us to all be able to figure out in whatever way it is that makes sense to us, whether it's church, whether you don't believe in that, whatever it is. We love all of you regardless of your belief, but you have to be able to figure out how to let go.
Absolutely. And that's hard to do sometimes. That's why it's important to encourage other people in it.
Patricia says toxic to other people like my father.
Yeah.
We're not alone in seeing this. I know people in this comment section have been through things like this.
Oh, totally.
Addicted Antler says 100%, Ash, you were correct. When I said I would have piled on trying to take up for Chris, I would have done it lovingly, or at least now I would. And listen, it's hard in the moment of, righteous anger against people who are doing this stuff. It's hard sometimes to remember that they're still a human being.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times people in those situations, they're not acting like it. And it's hard. It's very hard for me. I'm very good at leaning too hard into I'm going to be blunt and I'm going to be righteous anger about this. Ash tempers me and helps me sort of bring that back and reminds me of their humanity sometimes.
I think there's just a bigger picture, and that's, going back through clarity and perspective and stuff. You have to realize that when someone acts that way, it's probably because it was done to them, and also they just have a lot of demons that they haven't faced yet.
Yeah, but that's why we all are here working on doing this together, because we all help temper each other and make this appropriate and do this in a way that is loving. And sometimes I'm the one that needs reminded of that more than anyone.
True.
Brenda says Jim needs a hug.
He does.
He does.
He really does.
And Rick is correct. Jim needs to ditch the duck food. Absolutely. He needs to change his life and his diet.
I think it's so funny, by the way, Rick. Duck food. I may need to steal that, man. That's pretty funny.
Auntie says, Ash, thank you for sharing.
Oh, thank you, Auntie.
Let's see. Angie says, y'all are for real. We can see and hear your hearts and your goodness. Thank you for being there. Everyone needs someone.
Oh, yes.
And Patricia says, it's because you are not perfect that makes you so emotionally accessible. May you never be perfect. Love you both.
Thank you.
Yep. Yeah. Rick says, there's not just two of you. There are thousands of us out there.
That's right.
Amen. And that's why we're doing this, because we can all make such a huge difference.
Absolutely.
Janelle says, I'm at a loss for words. Hugs to you both. Well, thank you, Janelle.
Oh, thank you. I would like to meet Janelle in person one day.
Yeah.
Just so I could give her like a huge hug.
Yeah. Janelle, when are you coming to Nashville to come be a taste tester in a video and like hang out with us and let us feed you and just let us hug you and just, just be here with
something. You just got a lot of hugs coming your way.
By the way, we do still need more taste testers. So if anyone's going to find yourself in Nashville and you want to be in videos and be a taste tester, please let me know. Send me a message and we'll see if we can't get something scheduled for you to come over, because Ash loves being a taste tester.
I do.
But it offers a lot of legitimacy to the people out there who think that we're crazy, when I have other people who have no tie to me from the standpoint of like being my wife, who also say the recipe tastes good. It just helps people understand and believe it.
Also, it's kind of nice for me sometimes to sit back and let someone else taste test.
Yeah.
And then I still get to eat the food. So it's like, I don't have the work of being on camera, but I can just sit and eat. So I really enjoy it.
You can also ask all of the taste testers that have been on videos of mine. No one leaves hungry.
Oh gosh, no.
Everybody is well fed by the end of a Chris Cooking Nashville filming session.
Food. Oh yeah, no.
Yeah.
We send people home with stuff all the time.
Yes. Auntie says, I'm so going to need extra electrolytes today.
Me too, Auntie. Me too.
I know.
I feel you. But you know what?
All the salty tears. I'm sorry.
No, but it's good.
It is.
It's a good thing.
These are healing things, as much for us as hopefully for people out there watching.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So I think it's also sometimes interesting when we talk about these things and you get to see the, two of us sitting here like tearing up and choking up and struggling to talk about this. It's like, it brings a lot of context into what you see me do in the rest of our videos, what you see Ash doing in the rest of our videos. Like when you know this and then you go watch those videos, it's like, oh, now I understand what goes behind all that.
Yeah, I guess so. I just don't want to cry next week on Motivational Monday. I have a reputation of being a bad Ash. I can't always show emotion.
That's right. That's right.
Sometimes showing emotion is being a bad ass.
Yeah. Sandra says, Chris and Ash, thank you for sharing your heart and being vulnerable to your community. My appreciation for y'all have skyrocketed. Well, Sandra, I appreciate that.
Thank you, Sandra, and we appreciate you being here.
Addicted Antler says, very important Monday Live indeed. Well, thank you. I hope this is helpful to people because there's people that need help and we want to help them.
Mm-hmm.
Rick says, bad associations spoil useful habits. Absolutely.
Preach it, right?
Absolutely. And it can take a lot of healing to get over that. And sometimes you never quite do.
Yeah.
But that's why we do what we do.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we do what we do.
Yeah.
Sandra says, keep up the great work. God will continue to use you to bring encouragement to so many. God bless y'all. I sure hope so.
Thank you, Sandra.
We've been given a task and we are just doing the best we can. Janelle says, happy thought. Bacon.
Oh,
yes.
Yum.
Bacon.
Yum.
Bacon indeed.
Maybe you can't tell yet. I don't want to, I may get myself in trouble here.
No.
Are you going to tell them what we're filming right
after this? Yeah.
You want to tell people that?
So today, so after this, I have a guitar lesson.
Mm-hmm.
And then after I teach a guitar lesson, we are filming actually 2 videos. One is my main Saturday recipe video next week. And then the other one is an extra keto recipe that will come out at some point. But I'm doing carnivore fritters. And then I'm doing keto fritters. So the carnivore fritters, I'm doing bacon and cheddar. And I'm probably going to add some jalapeno in there for this lady over here. So those are a little more ketovore, but same difference. But they're going to be bacon, jalapeno, cheddar fritters. And then I'm doing corned beef and Swiss fritters for the more distinctly carnivore. So I'm doing 2 different versions and leave out the jalapenos. And those are carnivore as well. So I'm doing 2 kinds of fritters, carnivore. And then for the keto, I'm doing zucchini fritters, and I'm going to do a mock apple fritter for a sweet version.
I'm really excited. When you said bacon, Janelle, it totally made my mind think about what I'm going to eat, and I got real happy. You're right, bacon is a happy thought.
Yes, it's a happy thought. It's gonna be very good. Sandra says, talk about that sweet baby laying behind you.
What sweet baby? Mel, come here. Come here.
The fans want to see you.
Say hi.
Come say hello to your fanfare up here.
Let's see.
Yeah, that's it. Show everybody your butt.
Your butt.
Show everybody your big wide butt.
Come here. Come here. Let's see. Are you gonna come say hi? You want to say hello to everybody? Say hi.
Oh my goodness.
Mel wants to be. I told Chris. I said we should get like a big tall couch.
Yes.
So that way Mel can be in all the live streams.
That's right.
She's been back there napping. We've been just talking away. You're like, sleeping,
being lazy. If you were any lazier, you'd be in a coma.
Well, I told you we went on a little bit of a run, so she's like, I'm tired.
she's a little worn out today. She's also, by the way, in case you guys are wondering, she's acting like a puppy. She seems like all of her issues are gone. She's good. She's really, really good. So, and we're now actually starting to move her diet further in a more protein, less carb direction, as we've been trying to for a long time.
Yeah.
Because now it seems like she can handle it a little better.
Yes.
So I think the little mild case of the pancreatitis that we had maybe was what was making it so difficult to start getting the last of those carbs out. So we're doing good.
I also don't know how she knows where to look in the camera, but that's impressive, kiddo.
Listen.
Good job.
She just working the money maker.
Yep, working the money maker.
Rick says next week talk about cute duckies. Absolutely.
Yep.
Melanie says, isn't there something about that in the Bible? Something about a splinter in an eye, and before judging, pull the log out of your own eye? Yeah.
There sure is.
That's absolutely the thing. Barbara says Matthew 7:3-5. Absolutely. That's right. Jan is here, says, lovely truth speaking. Thank you. Well, thank you, Jan.
Thank you.
Melanie says, didn't Jesus send people out in twos to be the change? Yes.
He sure did.
He did. He sent people out in twos. And then when he left, he left the charge to spread far and wide the message of good news.
Yep.
And so that's what we're doing. And sometimes that is about our beliefs. And sometimes that is about healing people from a physical standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you disagree with our religious belief, that's okay. But we can still tell you about the physical healing that can come from doing what we do.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. So everybody get a partner. Everybody buddy up. We're all going to go out. Cindy and Larry Martin say, you live a real life, and we appreciate it. Well, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
I don't know how to live a fake life, so I'm just doing the best I can with what I've got here.
We struggle enough just to live the real life. Sometimes it can be a little challenging.
Not wrong.
So,
not wrong.
Yeah.
Sandra says, oh my goodness, I have just bought some pork belly.
Ooh, yum.
Angie says, yum, shredded pork belly, carnivore waffles, and gravy. I'll be over.
6 o'clock. Come on over.
John made a pork belly in his air fryer yesterday. And Auntie says, mental note, pick up some pork belly.
Yeah.
Let's see. She also says, my water pitcher filter is plastic. Yep. That's the thing, guys. We can only do so much.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you just got to do the best you can.
Mm-hmm.
And Carrie says, I'll just be tap dancing around then with the tap water. And you know what? If that's what you got to do right now, that's what you got to do. Do what you can, man.
You do you.
John says, I use a pure filter. Joplin City water is horrible. Too much chlorine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I understand. Nora is here. Hello, everyone. Hi, Nora. We're so glad you're here.
Yeah.
Let's see. Carrie says, thank you, Ash. When my great aunt died, she gave me the house. I work for the church and only make so much money, and after paying utilities, gas, there isn't much to save. I will when I can.
Great.
And that's the best you can do.
Absolutely.
It's the best you can do, my friend. You just keep going and keep praying for the next step, and you just one step at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Auntie says, Rick, I need to know more about your heart attack burgers. Absolutely.
True.
Anna is here. She says, I'm seeing this as God has anointed you. God uses us in any way to share those love of Christ to others, to bring healing, not just to the body, but the soul, etc. Praise God for your obedience. Well, thank you, Anna.
Thank you, Anna.
I do think he uses us in a lot of ways, even to reach people who don't believe the same way we do. We just, there's a lot of things we can do to heal people, and it's not just about the beliefs that we have. So
true.
Wanda is here. Chris, just starting carnivore. I had the gastric sleeve, having trouble getting enough protein and fats in. Any suggestions? I'm getting smaller meals 3 times a day because of stomach restrictions. Well, Wanda, that's a great question. I'm not a doctor, so I can't give medical advice, but here's what I'll tell you. Dr. Barry has great advice because he talks to people with this kind of a thing all the time. And what I have learned from him, and what I would suggest you research and look into so you can discuss with your doctor, or if you don't want to talk with your doctor, that's, kind of an up to you thing. But when you have gastric bypass or gastric sleeves or any of these kinds of things, you have to work your way up. It's very hard at first because you've limited what your stomach is capable of doing, but it can stretch over time, and you can get to where you can eat larger amounts at one time, but you're probably going to have to just do multiple meals a day. So it's tough, I know, but we've actually had a taste tester here that had a gastric surgery, and small amounts, but she eats multiple times a day. So for you, maybe 3 times a day isn't enough. Maybe you need to eat smaller amounts, but really focus on that fat and protein. Maybe it's 4, 5, 6 times a day. You just have to figure that out, but just work your way up to it and do the best you can to get in that protein and fat, and just work your way into it and eat as many times a day as you need to. You restricting your number of times eating or restricting to an eating window, that just is not your first priority right now. If you're just brand new to carnivore and you're trying to get in enough fat and protein for all the other health benefits, restricting how many days or how many meals you eat in a day, it's just not a thing you're going to be able to do right now. You'll be able to do it in time maybe, but you're at the beginning here. So work with what you've got and get that fat and protein in, and just eat as many snacks as you need to throughout the day until you can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep us posted.
Yeah. Keep us posted, Wanda, and let us know if we can help you. If there's more information or suggestions we can make of people you could reach out to, or whatever it is you need to do. So Sandra says, what a great live. The first one I've ever been able to watch. Well, Sandra, you sure picked a doozy to be here. So.
We're usually a lot more fun. I'm just saying.
Beverly says, maybe Jim will watch the replay and something will click for him to be better. You never know.
No.
And that's why I encouraged him to tune in and said, we're going to make this a conversation. And it's like, and I'm not trying to be mean to Jim, But I'm also not going to just sit back and be silent about it either. And I hope if he does tune in that he understands it's like, I have no problems with Jim as a person. I have very serious problems with what Jim is doing to people. And that's the difference. It's not him as a person. It's his behavior. We love the person and we hate the way they're acting. That's the key. John says, my Italian grandmother was sending mixed messages. 1 minute she's asking, when are you going to lose some weight? 10 minutes later, have some more pasta, eat up.
Yeah.
Yep, I understand. I understand.
Yeah.
Carrie says, I love this with Chris and Ash. One day I can get into the community. Absolutely, man. Well, in the meantime, we're here. Live streams and videos is what we're here for.
Doing our thing.
Yeah, the community extends way beyond just our private group. So we get to do a lot of special stuff there, but we try to do a bunch of special stuff here too. So that's why we do it. And Nora says, it shows how much both of you care. Well, thank you.
Thank you, Nora.
We really try. We really, really do. Maggie, the substitute teacher, is here showing support because we all struggle with something. Maggie, thank you so much. We do all struggle with something and we all need help and compassion and love and assistance and encouragement to overcome those struggles.
Absolutely.
And sometimes we're going to struggle the rest of our life off and on with it, and that's okay.
Yeah. And also, if you haven't, please go check out Maggie, the substitute teacher. She's a great channel. She's also one of the sweetest people around, and we absolutely love her. So thank you, Maggie.
She is a ray of sunshine everywhere she goes.
She is. She really is. I love watching her videos.
Yeah. Lewis Stone says, woohoo, my phone lasted the entire live. Great one. Many people needed to hear this, and people need to know they're here in this community that have been through everything they're going through. Absolutely. And that's the thing. That's why like that private group is so cool, or being here on our lives. Like you can be surrounded by people who can go through all of these things and then give you encouragement and help you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that's what we do.
Yeah.
Rick says, even I have a couple of long-term vegan friends. Absolutely.
There you go.
Auntie is currently enjoying a hot, salty caramel vibes. That sounds great.
That sounds so good.
Yes, yes. If you guys drop into the description box, there is a link. You can get a discount on salty or keto chow, either one, down at the bottom of the box. I use salty every single day for my electrolytes. We love keto chow for the occasion that we use those things.
Yum.
That description box link is there for you and get you 10% off. So if you're looking to try some electrolytes, just like Auntie is using salty, you can have some really good stuff. We love them. So shout out to Chris and Miriam over at Keto Chow for the great product they create.
Because they're amazing.
We appreciate them very much.
Yes.
Jake is here, says my hearing aid didn't sit in the charger correctly last night, so I'm late, but I can now hear. Well, Jake, you can just go back and watch the replay, my friend, and it's an intense one, so I hope you enjoy.
Yeah.
Shirley says, absolutely no eggs, liver from trauma. Yet at 64 years young, I'm trying this therapy. Smell, taste definitely triggers things. Love and life only. Eggs last 8 years. Liver still a hard no. And you know what? If you never get to a point you eat liver, it's okay.
Yeah.
It really is.
It really is. And honestly, I have to say too, that's one of the things I'm grateful for Chris's recipes though, because it's like, he uses eggs and especially for so many different things. And it's like, he doesn't make them taste like it. So I'm still able to get health benefits without going through that triggering kind of response when you just give me like an egg baked type of thing. So good for you, Shirley. Very proud of you.
Absolutely. John says, my wife loves when I work on my keg. I'll never have a six pack. That's all right. That is all right. Lewis Stone says, word limit. We are here to support them. Plus, this tiny keyboard sucks.
True.
I understand. Lewis Stone is also in our private community.
He's amazing. Lewis is the best, man. Awesome. He's great.
And Melanie gifted one Chris Cooking Nashville YouTube membership. Thank you, Melanie, for doing that.
That's so sweet.
I'm not sure who got it exactly, but if someone pops in and says, hey, I got it, let me know, so we can welcome you.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
I'm sure there's a way that I can check that out, but be honest, through StreamYard, I'm not sure where it is.
We struggle with that.
Let's see. Janelle says, Melanie White, you are awesome. I agree with Janelle.
She is.
Lori says, Jim was on your channel, so maybe he's looking. Hopefully he will be the change he wants for his family and ask his family for forgiveness and start the healing process. I would love nothing more.
Absolutely.
Would love nothing more. Melanie says, thank you. I couldn't afford more at this moment, but I felt like I should try to help at least one person. Well, Melanie, I appreciate that. That is so, so sweet. Lori also says, Chris, that's the man protection mode. Yes. Yes. John says, I'm with Chris. I'm chill most of the time, but sometimes, especially on social media, you have to lay the smack down on fools. Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And it's not because I'm angry at those people. I'm angry at their behavior and what it is doing to other people, because they're not thinking about that when they say that.
Yeah.
And I know that because I used to be the person it was being done to.
Mm-hmm.
I know what it's like. Honestly, I probably would have considered going down I would have been headed down the path of eventually suicidal ideation if I hadn't changed.
I really do agree with that.
And people saying things like that would have driven me further to it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I felt like trash.
Well, and when you're brain fogged and all of that, I mean, it's so hard to think clearly. Yeah.
Mary says, my dad always wanted to be right at all costs, even if the cost was me. And I get it. And that's the thing, people. And I don't even think people are intending to be that way, but effectively they are being that way. Mm-hmm. And sometimes people pay a really hefty cost for someone doing that. But we have the ability to find those people who are going through that and let them know you're not alone and you don't deserve that. And that minimizes the cost those people pay at that person doing that. So, absolutely. We may not be able to just miraculously snap our fingers and change someone's life, but we can have a positive impact and make it better.
Mm-hmm. Very true.
And that can literally save someone's life. Mm-hmm. Tammy says it's healing to hear someone share their experience with what they're feeling. Well, thank you, Tammy.
Very sweet.
And she says, thanks, Ash.
Aw, thank you, Tammy. I'm going to just come up with a bunch of jokes for next week. But yeah.
Yeah. Cranky Carnivore Cutler said, this is better, and I can still hear. He was the Jake talking about his his hearing aids. So
I know Cranky Carnivore. That's awesome.
Yes.
Glad you're here.
That's why we didn't recognize the name. So we're glad you're here. Auntie says, Ash, I think showing your emotions and tears makes you much more a badass.
Oh, well, thanks, Auntie.
Yes. Janelle says, fritters. Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I'm excited about that.
Rick says, at least on this cooking channel, I could eat it without making quacking noises. That's
this
right.
Is true.
That's right.
No duck food.
John says, next week, happy topic. Bacon and homemade breakfast sausage, maybe?
Ooh, yum. I'm okay with that.
And Cranky Carnivore Cutler says, drool.
Yeah.
Yes. Auntie says, Mel therapy. And look at that puppy smile.
Yeah.
Gail says she was showing her happy tail wagging. That's correct. Yeah. Jana's here. Says, hi, everyone, and good morning. Hi, Jana.
Good morning.
I hope you enjoy the replay. It's an intense one. Lynn says, mock apple fritter. Another dream come true for this girl. Hi, Mel. Yes.
Yes.
And Auntie says, mock keto apple fritter. Someone speaking to my heart.
Mine too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's see. Janelle says, this has been a very motivational Monday, but we better let Chris get to his guitar lesson. Yes. We're just about done. I think we're just about caught up here. Marie says, this is a good live today. It was my first. I feel the Lord led me to it. Generational curses for sure. I've been on the receiving end, but also became an abuser myself, although I didn't know it.
And you know what, Marie? Like, here's the thing, though. Again, it's like, we are taught this way. And I have two younger brothers that basically when my, dad left and my mom kind of had some issues, I basically ended up raising. And I was very young. I had just turned 18. I was a brand spanking new baby Christian. I didn't know what I was doing. And so for a while when I was raising my brothers, I wasn't the person that I was today. Mm-hmm. And, not per se that I was abusive, but I was really harsh with my younger brothers and I was cruel. And I acted like Jim because I was always taught that if I critique you and if I push you, then that's going to make you better. Mm-hmm. That's going to motivate you to be. And so I basically, because I was raised with these abusive behaviors, now that I was in a situation of authority and I was raising my younger brothers, that's all I knew how to do was, to talk to them this way and to be rough and to, do whatever. And so then, throughout the course though of healing certain things, I started going to therapy because I knew it's like, man, I feel like I'm acting like my mom or my dad, and I'm saying these things and I don't want to be that. And it sounds like that's exactly the realization you came to. Yeah. But you know what? When I realized it, I called all my brothers up and I apologized. Yeah. And I said, hey, I'm so sorry. I was wrong. Yeah. And so good for you for saying though, like, yeah, I became an abuser myself because you didn't know. But now that you do know, apologize, change it, and go forward and share your story and your help with other people. Yep. I mean, you have the ability to literally go forward and change people's lives. So thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely. And let go of the weight of hanging on to the things of the past and just focus on doing it the way you now want to in the future.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. She also says, needing to make amends to my adult children and been on a journey of healing for years.
Good.
And that's great.
Just, and Marie, I'm rooting for you. Good for you. That's brave, though. That's
absolutely
ballsy.
It takes a lot of guts to say, I was wrong. Now let me change.
Yeah. But that's part of the healing process, not only for your adult children, but for you. Mm-hmm. And just because things were once a certain way doesn't mean they'll always be that way. And you're taking the steps to change it and to heal and move on. So, wow, Marie.
Absolutely.
Thank you for sharing. That's amazing.
Yep. What an amazing hero right here.
Mm-hmm.
Andy says, wanted to sign out to run errands, but I wanted you to know the message will be forwarded. Love you both. Well, we love you, Andy.
We love you too.
John loves heart attack burgers, just ditches the bread. Excellent. Okay, so here's a good point. John says, I have gastric sleeve. Shrimp and beef are very dense protein.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. So that's a great way to start. And then just those multiple times a day, just start working there and try to increase your fat intake where you can. And, and you'll find the balance.
Yeah.
Barbara says, fantastic live. See you next time. Everyone have a great week.
You too, Barbara. Thank you.
Yep. John says, even with a gastric sleeve, I can manage 50 grams a meal. I've been able to eat 2 mad. That's great. And that's the thing.
Super
you
awesome.
work up to things like that and you'll be good. Lori says, Wanda, I just bought a book from Martina. I have no idea how you say that last name, called Sweet and Savory Fat Bombs for Keto, Paleo, and Low Carb Diets. Maybe this will help. It's a great idea.
Thank you, Lori.
That's a great idea.
Advice.
Yeah. Wanda says, thank you. I've been doing carnivore for about 10 days. I've had psoriasis for years. I've already seen dramatic improvements with
awesome.
Rock on, Wanda. That's fantastic. I'm so glad.
Amazing. Good for you.
John says, Caramel Grove Vibes is great hot. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Auntie says, I started a discussion on the private group specifically about food, past trauma, healing, etc. Support is important. Thank you for doing that. That is amazing. And yes, that is a wonderful discussion and we'll jump on that.
Definitely.
That'll be a great place to have
Thank you, Auntie. Why is Auntie so great?
She's great.
She's so great.
My dad says, so kind, Melanie. Maritza's here. I got in late. We're going back to rewatch. This is or was so amazing, and I just finished 2 burger patties and endless summer salty.
Yeah,
amazing. Jonna says that was very nice of you.
Yeah.
John says, never liked liver until I fried it in butter after a 24-hour soak in heavy cream. Yeah, that's I love liver, but that
I've heard that though, like where you soak it, and I guess it doesn't taste so.
Take some of the strong flavor out.
Yeah.
Auntie says, seeing Chris and other men in here is in such a protective support mode is so healing.
Agreed.
And here's the deal: if you're again, you don't have to agree with my religious beliefs. I'm just coming from the standpoint of what I believe. Jesus gave a very clear example of what a man is supposed to be, a protector and a provider. God made us to be a certain way. And even if you don't share my religious beliefs, it's very clear what men are supposed to act like when they're actually being men and they're loving, protecting, caring, and serving those around them.
Yeah. Totally
it's very clear. Steven says, so whatever happened to the golden rule? It's a really good question.
Great question, Steven.
Very good question. Brenda says, Valentine's Day is coming up. Need a keto pineapple upside down cake. Ooh, okay. Let me think about that.
I wouldn't be mad about that.
Yeah. Janelle says, I think the golden rule went the same way as common sense. You are not wrong.
Oh, Janelle, you're funny.
John says, apple fritters, keto or carnivore? Keto chow base. So it's going to be keto, and it's not going to be a keto chow base. I mean, you could use keto chow as the base, but I'm just going to make my own base for it. So it's going to be good. Going to be good. Brenda says, Chris Cooking Nashville, congrats, Rockin' Keto Amy for getting gifted. Well, awesome. That's so cool that Rockin' Keto Amy got the membership, the gift membership. That's really cool.
That's awesome.
John says, support and suggestion for improvements are fine. Criticism is not okay.
Come on.
Absolutely.
True.
What's really funny is I have people online sometimes that say, oh, you can't handle criticism. And I'm like, why are you criticizing?
Yeah.
Why do I need criticism?
Yeah.
That's my point. It's not that I can't handle it. It's that I don't need it from you.
Yeah, exactly.
Maria's crying.
Oh, give her a hug through the computers. Big
hugs. Rick says, I love cooking shrimp. I make a delicious pork rind fried shrimp. I bet that's good. Bet that is very, very
Super good.
John says, most people use the golden rule that Jafar used. The one who has the gold makes the rules. That's correct.
Yes.
And Marissa says, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Well, guys, we have been on here for like almost 2.5 hours. This was a very intense live, but it's a very important subject. Remember, we are asking that if you are part of our community, that you keep us accountable, we keep you accountable, and all of us together go out and show compassion and encouragement in trying to spread the news about keto and carnivore and what it can do for people, and that we love people through the difficulty, through the trauma, through the things they've been through, and that we help each other remember we don't always have knowledge of what is in that person's mind and in their past. Mm-hmm. It can go so much deeper than we realize. So just go out and do really, really good things for people in any way that you can, because it makes a big difference to people that you might not even know how much of a difference it makes. And I know, because I was one of those people, and now I'm just trying to go out and do the things that I wish would have been done more for me at the time. Mm-hmm. Thank you guys so much for being here. It was wonderful to just share our hearts with you today. Don't forget the ebook is there. The new private group is linked there. All of that's in the description box. We have our live cooking show tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Central Time. We're going to be doing those pork belly carnivore waffles with gravy. It's going to be amazing. And we have the fritters coming out on Saturday. In the meantime, we love every single one of you guys. Don't forget to hit that like and the share and the subscribe buttons. Do all of that stuff, and we'll hopefully see you in the next live stream or maybe in the private group if you're looking for some extra support so we can be there for you. We just love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being the encouragement that the two of us have needed so much, and I hope we can do more for the rest of you guys. Mm-hmm. So we love all of you. Have an amazing Monday and a wonderful week. This is Chris Cooking Nashville. My beautiful wife over here, Ash Taylor. Guys, eat your meat, love your life, show some compassion, and save some lives. And we'll see you guys in the studio or the kitchen or who knows where else very, very soon. Bye, y'all.
Bye.